Blah. Dude, this is so funny that you watch my channel. That's fucking
Yeah, man.
hilarious.
Yeah. I was literally talking about it the other day to our guitarist. I was like, you need to check this guy out. He covers all the good Misfits stuff. Glenn Danzig's film reviews. I was like, we need to hear this. So it's a small big world, isn't it?
It is a really small big world because like you guys have been my like you guys are the only thing I've been listening to for the last, I don't know, few months. Like that album has been. All right, let's start this off. Let's start this off right. Hold on. Let me do this properly because we're just launching into conversation. Okay. Normally this would be the pizza punk show that we do. So let me just do a welcome in thing.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Hi. Welcome to another episode of Pizza Punk. I'm always super stoked for episodes of Pizza Punk, and I always talk about how super stoked I am, but I am really, really super stoked for this episode, and the reason why is because I have been listening to this band non-stop. And I was like, I got to get this band on the show. I got to talk to them. I have a million questions and I want to champion them. I mean, not that I'm really somebody to be championing anybody. I have a very small little audience thing, but just that, we always are super passionate about music on here and we like to champion music that we love. And this is music that I truly deeply respect and love. And so I am so beyond honored and pleased to have both Bobby and John of the Bad Nerves, just Bad Nerves. It's not the Bad Nerves, Bad Nerves on the channel. Welcome to my show. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thanks.
It's a pleasure, man. Yeah. What an intro.
Yeah, an intro.
That's just the beginning. Let's start right off the gate. This is a question I ask everybody. Is pizza punk? And if it is punk, why is it punk? Or why is it not punk? And it's very subjective. Whatever you think. Go ahead.
Well, I guess pizza is punk because it's I think everybody knows that it's not particularly healthy, but we eat it anyway because we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and the Ramones reference it in whatever movie they made. So yeah, it's punk.
Yeah, it's punk. It's punk.
I love that. I love it. Good. I'm glad to know that Bad Nerves think that pizza is punk. I think pizza is punk too. I've had answers across the board.
Practically lived off it for like 2 years.
Yeah, there was a period of my life where, do you know what I found actually? The more expensive a pizza, normally the worse it is. If you go,
it's true. It's like biscuits, man. The same.
Yeah, if you buy a pizza for under £1 or under $1, it's normally probably the best pizza you'll ever have.
Let me tell you something. Who did I see? Okay, I went to go see Black Flag with TSOL. With TSOL. It wasn't Flag because Flag to me is the heart and soul of Black, whatever. It was Greg Ginn. Yeah. It was Greg Ginn and his guys. I saw Black Flag with TSOL, the Dickies, and Total Chaos.
Oh, man,
it was a package show. It was like,
that's
holy crap.
One hell of a show. That is.
Yeah. I couldn't.
Total Chaos at the end. That's amazing.
Dude. Oh no, Total Chaos opened. This was the order. This was the playing order. It was Total Chaos, then TSOL, then the Dickies, then Black Flag. And so I didn't even stay for all Black Flag set. I actually left halfway through. I was like, I was like, I'd seen Flag. I really like Flag, and Flag is what's up. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. And I went to a pizza spot that's supposed to be the best pizza in Brooklyn. It's like $4 a slice. I don't know what that translates to pounds. It was like $4.50 a slice.
About four we've got.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, man. I was not better than dollar slice pizza on the Lower East Side of New York City.
I feel like if you go to New York and get pizza, you get slices like this big, like just massive. Over here, that ain't a thing. We get palmed off with these tiny pizzas.
Because here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Do you guys have mayonnaise in the States?
We do. We don't put it on our French fries. I'm a big mayonnaise lover.
Yeah.
But it is generally Americans hate mayonnaise, or it's like mayonnaise is like, bleh, that's what
we might not be able to come over then.
Yeah, we're not coming. I like to carry.
That's it.
Yeah. You're putting mayonnaise on your pizza?
Well, do you know what?
He carries a personal thing of mayonnaise around with him.
Oh, not all the time. Only sometimes. Only when the country demands it. I'll tell you what though, the Dutch do fantastic mayonnaise. The mayonnaise in Netherlands is, but yeah, no, I never used to have it with pizza. And then one day a friend said to me, you have to have mayonnaise with pizza," and I thought, no, that's awful. And but you
Sounds
know,
good to me.
I tried to be open minded. I tried to be open minded, and now it's. I mean, it changed my fucking life.
Listen, there's no rules. Here's the thing. There's only one rule with pizza. Pizza's like 3 chords, right? You have 3 chords. You could do a punk rock song. Pizza.
Yeah,
if you
right.
have dough, sauce, and cheese in the right order, whatever you put on top of it, there's no rules.
Preach.
There's no rules. That's why pizza's punk to me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's a way better answer. Yeah, you've had time to think.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, this is so awesome because I'm fanboying out here because, like I said, I have not stopped listening to this record. So I want to gush about that real quick before we move on. But one thing I want to say about so I went on a 1 European tour. I was with a punk band who you may or may not know, but I was like the video guy. We toured America and we toured Europe. And the thing that we noticed, the interesting culture shock was, I mean, you hear about America's big, more like everything's like American sized. You go to Burger King in like Germany and the fucking burgers. Like,
yeah.
Like 3 bites, 3 or 4.
It's like a little fucking.
Yeah, I know.
Over there.
I was like, dude, a burger is a burger, man. And so that's why it's like America, everything's so big over here, man.
Everything is big. Like, and the Coke, like when you get like a thing of Coke or Fanta or whatever, you can get those ones which are like huge. And you think
20
Oh,
ounce.
man. When I went to America a few years ago and stopping at the gas stations, and I think I was at McDonald's or something. I asked for like a large drink, and I was warned. They were like, "Oh no, like a large is different." I was like, "Nah, whatever, I can handle it." And they gave me like a bucket. It was like a bucket with a straw in it. I was like, "This is insane, man. This is insane."
That is
I have to move here.
That is excessive capitalism unfettered, right? Like we love, like, listen, capitalism necessary, not to get political. Capitalism necessary evil, but when capitalism is unfettered, it does not care about humanity, right? So you will have something that big that's not good for you, but it's like, oh well, if you want to pay for it, we have it, and that's
you decide, but it's very addictive, so you don't really decide.
Right.
Thank
So
God
it's
sugar's good for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my drug of choice, and it is insidious.
Hardest one to give up. Hardest
one. I quit smoking cigarettes. As you can see, I still do this. I quit smoking cigarettes about 13 years ago, and the sugar it just exploded. Exploded.
Yeah.
Bad shit, man.
Sugar it lights up your brain the same way that cocaine does, doesn't it? Sugar, so it's
junk. It's junk.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is. I love it. And the worst part is it's the FOMO, the fear of missing out. So for me, I'll be in a store or a shop. If I'm in, you guys call it shops, right? Shops. Yeah. I'm in a store and I'd be like, oh my God, I've never tried that before. So it's not like I want to do it over and over.
Same thing, man. I guess
got to try it.
Yeah, I like walk past like a bakery, and I'll walk past like 3-4 times, just staring at them. Like it's a hard thing to resist, man.
Yeah, iced cakes, bread with sort of icing is very difficult to not. Who'd have thought? What a combo!
I can't even imagine. And plus, you guys you guys play some pretty stellar gigs. I've watched almost every YouTube video on you guys. I haven't watched all the interviews. I didn't do the interviews because I wanted to stay I wanted to ask you questions.
Of course. Yeah.
But I watched all the live video. I found you guys from I was watching videos from when Bobby was still on guitar in 2017. We'll talk about that.
Terrible idea.
It was a good listen. Well, I don't know the name of the other guy, but when you that's one thing. Okay, hold on. Let me start off my story about how I found you guys. And it's very important that I say this story. Sure. I am listen, from and I want to put this up front that I want to say this. I'm going to say this once so I never have to say it for the rest of the show. I want to say something. Spotify needs to pay its artists more money. All artists need to be paid more money. Now that we've got that out of the way, we all understand that. We all understand that needs to happen. from a consumer perspective, the thing that I love about Spotify is its algorithm. I listen to music, and then Spotify, technology, AI, whatever. Hey, you like this? You would like this. That's how I've discovered so many great bands. And what happens is I listen to the music. I personally will go to the show pre-COVID, of course. I will go to the show. I will buy the record. I will, usually the band is selling their merch. Nice to meet you. I found you on Spotify. Love you guys. I'll see you the next time you're in town. That's the best way. If you ever want to support an artist, the best way you're going to support an artist is go to the show, buy some merch.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the best way you can support an artist. And Spotify, and that's the kind of weird thing about music in this day and age, where music has become more of like almost like a marketing thing. It's like a marketing thing for live shows. If people go to live shows, oh, I heard the music, I want to go see the live show. Again, this is pre-COVID. COVID changed everything.
Yeah,
and
right.
I'm going to see the band. I love the band. I want the friggin' merch, whatever. In any case, one day, when you finish an album, it goes right to Spotify radio, the radio for that album. And something, and all of a sudden I'm hearing the song. I don't, maybe it was, what the first song, Can't Be Mine, Can't Make You Mine.
Yeah,
Can't Be Mine, Can't Be Mine. I hear that song. And I go, listen, I don't know the names of all the songs because when I listen to the album, I just listen to the whole album
all the
way through.
Man, I never remember song titles ever, so you ain't got to apologize to me.
No. I remember songs, but the point is that when I listen to the Bad Nerves, I just start the album. I started at the beginning, and I go all the way through. I don't stop listening until the album's. Yeah, I just have to listen to every song.
Over in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the best part about your album and my favorite albums. I don't want an album that's 45 minutes or 35 minutes. I want an album that I could play twice in an hour, three times in an hour, that I could just, as soon as I'm done with dreaming, I go right back into Can't Be Mine. Right? That's like, I have to.
I think that's one of the things that we kind of thought people, especially today's age, like people get bored so quickly. And I mean, I feel like I get bored quite quickly, and I would rather a band's record finish and me feel like I want more, rather than being like, oh, this is kind of, there's loads of albums I love, but I still get to about sort of the 6th or 7th track and I need to change it, so it's it's nice to keep it fresh, keep it short. We wanted to do an album under 20 minutes, so we were a bit upset there.
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Listen, your album is 27 minutes long, and it's it's 27 minutes long. Listen, one of my favorite albums ever is 22 minutes long, and I will listen to that. It's a band that is no longer it's a band that destroyed themselves. A very sad story. Not the person got what was coming to them, but a band who I used to just see live all the time, No Bunny. I don't know if you know No Bunny.
I saw No Bunny. I saw No Bunny in Berlin just before it obviously fell apart for obvious reasons.
I was a big fan. I have all of his records. I've seen every show that Justin has come through.
The first one was wicked.
So Love Visions is 22 minutes long, and I listened to that album. I could listen to that album 3 times in an hour, and I just made me fall in love with short albums.
That was such a bummer.
A bummer. Ripped my heart out. Because I saw
that all kicked off literally. I saw them live in Berlin at, I can't remember where it was now. And then literally about 3 or 4 months later or something, it all came to an abrupt end, which is a shame because the live show that I saw was fucking mental. He was lighting shit on fire on stage. I was thinking, surely someone's going to stop this. That's what I thought, because shows are, how like strict everything is now, But then if you're in fucking Berlin, I don't think anyone gave a shit. He was lighting shit on fire and running through the crowd, like crazy shit, man. Like, it was fucking nuts.
Just a true patron of the Church of Rock and Roll, and that's why I loved him, man.
That's why it ended.
That is also why it ended, and it's very sad. The point being, though, is that he made all of his albums are very short, and I just that was a masterpiece. So I've gravitated towards very short albums, and your album is, again, like I said, it could be, if it was 20 minutes, that would be just like That would be just like the tits. But you know what? It's still, like I said, it's a banger of an album. I'm listening to Spotify, and Bad Nerves comes on, and I'm listening, and I listen all the way through, and 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 just compulsively over. I want to say it's been about 3 months. I just keep listening to this album all the way through.
So that's why our numbers are rising.
Yeah. Dude,
It's all
you guys are fucking killing it on Spotify for an independent artist. I'm so stoked for you guys. I really am. I really, really am. And that's what I wanted to ask you about. Well, first thing I want to ask you about. Wait, I don't even know where to begin.
First of a million questions.
No, okay, here's the first question. Tell me about the recording. You guys had these songs over a long period of time, and it seems like you really workshopped them, because the lyrics used to be different on some of them, right? Especially when Bobby was on guitar. And you sort of refined them. Tell me about the process of workshopping this material and deciding when was it ready for you guys, like, we're going to record this, and why the decision to record. You guys recorded this independently. Tell me about that process and why you did it that way.
Do you know, I think all of us come from a sort of small scene of musicians and bands and stuff, and we all, none of us have ever had loads of money to go and record properly, and there's a few people that recorded bands and like that we knew and stuff like that. And I used to play with one of my closest mates who records bands. He's been recording bands since he was since he was about 16, I think, or so. And I've played in bands with him and blah, 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 and like loads of other people we know have recorded with him, and like sort of like, it's like a little community of people. So he was the guy we ended up recording these songs with. And it was great because me and him are such good friends. I was able to sort of sit with him for hours where you wouldn't normally be able to, like, sit there with him and try and figure out how we wanted this stuff to sound, because I recorded all the demos, like I recorded like some of the first demos. I think it was Dreaming, Can't Be Mine, and Wasted Days in this room, actually, in this you can't really see because it's kind of
Wow.
I recorded them. It was just me and Will at the time. There's only two of us when we first started it. We recorded those 3 tracks in here, and I mixed them, and they didn't sound great, but they, at least I managed to like find the feel of it, the vibe of how I wanted them to sound. But then I took it to my friend who can actually record better, and we were just trying to recreate the vibe that we'd captured in this little room, but make it sound like more powerful. I don't know. We love really lo-fi kind of crap sounding punk music. I say crap. I mean, it sounds better. But I find
budget.
Yeah, most music sounds. The thing is, you get that human. There's that human element, like in that music, where nobody knew what they're doing. They're just playing, And so we love that, but we wanted this to have a bit more of a modern power to it, So we're trying to sort of keep that punk energy, but then have that sort of a slightly more powerful sound. But what else was in the question?
You were doing demos, and then eventually you never had enough money to record properly. You had your friend, and you. But what made this? Because here's the thing. This is the thing that blows me away about this album. First of all, the production on this album. Again, I'm not a musician, as I say here all the time on this channel when I try to talk music things.
We're not musicians anyway.
Yeah, right. Come on. I mean, and that's the other thing too, is you guys are so fucking tight. You're tight. Like the live band, like that live version of you guys doing Dreaming for that session where you're like jumping up on the drum. Yeah. Oh my God. Like I watched that. Did you guys ever see the guy cover Dreaming acoustic? The acoustic cover of Dreaming?
I've seen a few, yeah.
I've seen a few people do it. Yeah, I don't know which one.
Yeah. This one only has like 150 hits, and it is, oh my God, it's acoustic, and it's so slow and beautiful, and it's just like such a different take. Yeah, I'll send it. I'll email it to Jazz.
Yeah. I do, yeah. But we I was just gonna say, we with the some of those tracks, we were refining a lot of those tracks right up to the last.
Baby Drummer was like a Frankenstein, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was really funny. I posted a thing on Instagram the other day because it was the 2-year anniversary of the record coming out, And I had a load of footage that I filmed when we were recording. Well, actually, just when we were recording the drums, actually, because that was the only thing really that we did. Well, we did bass as well in that studio, but I've lost the footage of that. But I made this little video, and you can hear that he's doing the drums to Baby Drummer, but it's the old version. And I sat with that song for, I mean, a few months after we'd officially recorded it properly, changing it because it's like there's like a thing where you just feel when it's wrong and you feel when it's right, you know.
There's a different vocal arrangement to it, that early one from that live video. From that live video that you did in like whatever, the rehearsal studio.
There's a bunch of like, I mean, there's the only ones that didn't really change much were like Wasted Days, Dreaming, Can't Be Mine. There's a few others, but a lot of the other ones, when we went in to actually record, there's like, it's not that I'm never happy, but it's like I'm not happy until it just feels right, you know. And it's like sometimes it's easy, sometimes I'll be sitting here with like a song and it's like I feel like it's almost great, and I couldn't tell you why it's not, but there's something not right, and I just have to sit here and try things until something feels right, you know. And
well, Dreaming changed. The ending of Dreaming changed. You added more "Don't Want to Be Dead Like You" over and over and over again. What was the decision behind that process?
Because
you were doing it live, I think, as well.
Yeah,
like you were kind of ending live like that, and it kind of I'm pretty sure that might have been why.
Yeah, that was why. I think it just seemed like well, that lyric can mean all sorts of things.
Oh my God, that song in particular, you know, a few of these tracks have like really stirred up emotions inside of me, like deeply, brought me to tears in some aspects, because the lyrics are really, really deep and really mean. I'm just turned 37 years old, and they just really mean something to me at this point in my life. I'm at this crossroads where I'm about to enter middle age. And so the themes on this album, you know, it's not a concept record, but their themes cross over so much lyrically. You're talking about dreams. You're talking about this idea of, I'm growing tired of growing old, but I got a teenage mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, dude.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, exactly.
Ain't that the fucking truth, man?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You get to a certain point in your life, don't you? And you realize, fuck, like you never really work things out like you think you're going to when you're younger. You think you're going to get to a certain age and everything will be, you know, as you dream it to be. And then actually you realize time's passing by and you're imagining this future, and you're not even living in this present moment. All your time is spent thinking about the what ifs and what could be's, and then your life just disappears. And it's such a weird thing growing up, you know, because it's just not. When you're younger, it's great because there's all that fantasy and stuff. But as you get older, and the fantasy sort of becomes like the reality of what life is.
But you're fighting to keep. At least again, you keep the teenage mind, or to keep your dreams.
That's when you're most innocent, and you're like, when you feel like you could do anything, everything before life. Like
it's life. It is life.
Exactly. Yeah, because life gets you, doesn't it? And it makes you think. Well, not for all of us, but it tries to make you think. Forget all your dreams. Forget all that because it's not going to happen. And once you like succumb to that sort of feeling or that thought, you're just fucking miserable, you know. You got to sort of hang on to that kind of innocence that you have when you're a kid, you know. That's what we're all trying to do.
But that's why Dreaming in particular has been so heavy for me. As you know, again, this is gonna I'm sorry to take it here, but I am, because so, you know, I think a lot about death all the time. I do. From time to time, I just think about, as I get older, I just think like, fuck, like what happens? Like all those big questions. And I had this epiphany when I was listening to Dreaming, and just thinking about, as I lie in my bed, dreaming forever, dead, but my love outlive me. And I thought, my God, that's what it is. Like, that's what happens when you fucking die. Like when you don't, it's not some violent accident. Like when you just, like, I thought about my grandmother, who just, like, you know, she was 92, and she, you know, what's funny? She retreated into her own world for the last year of her life. She was not social. She was like retreating inward, and she slowly died. She didn't die the day she died. She started dying a year before.
Yeah.
And it was like she's shifting into a dream world. And I thought, like, fuck, that's what happens when you die. You just stepped off and you're dreaming forever. And I thought, like, what an invincible, the idea that we're all fucking meaningless nothings. There's so many of us and we're all fucking meaningless, but at the same time, that there is meaning, and that when we fucking leave, we're just off there dreaming forever. Our love lives on if we choose to love.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The Beatles, right? Love. If we choose to
Exactly,
love, it lives on in the world.
Yeah, man,
whether it's our children, our fucking art, or whatever it may be. Like it lives on without us. And then this idea, but then why say I don't want to be dead like you? And that's what you were saying about the job, about life, what you think life's supposed to be, being weighed down. I'd rather be dreaming forever than be dead like you. Fuck you.
It's nice to hear that somebody has really thought about that. Because you pretty much like nailed it on the head. I like to say, we were talking about this, me and John, the other day, like lyrics. Like, I think it's nice to have things open to interpretation, you know, because I don't like things to be too literal, because I think you take something away from the listener. If the listener can hear it and interpret it how they want, they can be more affected by it, and it's like a good thing. But like everything you're saying about those lyrics and dreaming is just
it's funny because like a lot of people have zoomed in on that lyric specifically, haven't they? Like we've had a few like real deep and meaningfuls with some fans about that line in particular and what it meant to them. Like I can think of a couple that were like, seriously, like it struck a nerve really, and you just think that they can really mean a lot to a lot of people, you know, like just one simple line or two lines.
Exactly, that's the thing. I sort of think like people, you know, not everybody is fortunate enough to be in situations where they're able to, or they're encouraged to sort of do the thing that really truly makes them happy, and that is so sad, you know. It's like everybody has something they really love, and they should do that. Obviously everybody has to do things to get by in life, you know, that's just the way it is. You know, you have to have a job. Most of us have to have shitty jobs, you know, blah blah blah, but like you've got to find a bit of time for the thing that you love, because that's the thing that will give you like some meaning, some purpose, you know, like if there is to be a purpose to this sort of fleshy sack we're in for about 80 years.
Well, I really like what Yoda says in Empire Strikes Back.
The wise one.
The wise one. He says, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. I'm like, fuck yeah, Yoda.
Wow.
You're right.
Luminous beings are we, not this crude manner. And so the idea of returning to the dream world. And the other thing too is, you said open to interpretation, of course, and that is what is beautiful about all the lyrics in on Bad Nerve, self-titled. But the idea of don't want to be dead like you is like a thing. It's the answer is whoever the listener is thinking about, because they're thinking about someone or they're thinking about a situation. And every one of them is subjectively valid. You're thinking about that person. I don't want to be like you. You're dead. I don't want to be like you. And it's something like the idea of like staying true to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. You've got your own. A lot of people know deep down what the path is they want to follow, whether it's intuition or whether it's thought about, whatever they know, but we're not society doesn't encourage us to do these things. Society wants us to go inward and not do what and sort of just do our little jobs and shut the fuck up. You know, they don't want us to go out and express ourselves, you know, creatively, because if everyone
couldn't be any more clear, could it, these days?
Oh yeah, exactly. If everybody did that, like we would, there would be a revolution, because people would be like, I'm not going to do this bullshit anymore. I know what I love to
do. Let the robots do it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck it. Let the robots do it. We have AI. Let the robots take over. You also say
this shit.
You know, this idea of this rhetorical question, can a sound go so far? Can it live forever? And again, I think when I hear that lyric, I think about mortality. I think about the idea of like, you know, a sound is a finite thing, right? And part of what makes a sound, part of what makes music the music is not just the sounds, but it's also the lack of sound. So this idea that even if a sound does go so far, that if it doesn't stop, then it's no longer music, because you need the silence in order to create dynamic range.
Yeah.
You know,
and also it's like music. I always think with any art, you know, whatever it is. It could be anything, you know, making tables, making music, whatever. These sort of, it's like a time capsule, you know, like
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
you're doing something whilst you're, you know, conscious and alive, like in this sort of reality, in this dimension, or whatever. Like whilst you're here, you can do the thing, put your passion, your love into something, and when you're dead, it's there for other people to sort of experience, and it is almost like you, in a sense, you kind of do live forever, unless someone burns all your CDs and deletes all your digital files, and then you're fucked. But you know what I mean? It's like it's, I like that idea of a time capsule, like whatever it is you do, even it, you know, it doesn't have to be art, it can be anything. Like if you help people in your community, you know, like, and people remember that, and you sort of live on in people's thoughts almost, you know. There's so many ways.
It's the only way to live on, really, isn't it? Is to,
oh,
like,
of course, yeah.
touch people in that sort of way, you know. With music,
exactly.
you can live forever.
Yeah, I guess it's that comes with that whole thing of, like, you know, leave the world better than how you entered it, or wherever it is, you know, like sort of
Sure.
like leave your mark, something to say, you know, like I was here, I was here, this is what I did, you know, enjoy.
Yeah.
Now
that pretty much is the driving force behind doing this, I think.
Exactly, yeah,
absolutely.
Because we everybody has, like I said, there's always that fear of, like, oh, should I be doing this? Surely I should do something with more security, blah blah blah, all this bollocks but that's just the fucking programming. Like, it's like the whole thing of, like, saving up all your money, save up all your money for the future, blah blah blah. It's like, what the fuck? The future is some imaginary thing. Like, you need to just live.
It doesn't exist,
right,
man. It doesn't fucking exist.
It's like, well,
and
why
you know,
can't I buy myself a new guitar? Like, you know what I mean? If I've got the money, I should.
well, you know, it's interesting too, is just like, I think again, just to talk about this idea of, I mean, to bring it does sort of go back to, or at least in the last couple of years, I've sort of looked at, like, COVID, and, like, I think COVID is actually, in a weird kind of way, recontextualized a lot of what you're saying, in the sense that here you have these people that are going into these service jobs and dying for fucking nothing. And or people just being like, why the fuck am I doing this? And, like, there's only one life. I should be doing more than just this bullshit. Exactly. And it's like, we're not, our society, even our global society, the idea that you guys are in another whole other country with a whole different culture, but, like, you know, the idea that, like, society in general, you know, instills in us that, you know, we work to live and then we die and that's it. And it's just like, fuck that.
Exactly. Like, you know, you sort of, you know people who fucking work their whole lives, and then they, you know, and then they die, and then you think you're promised, like, this whole thing of retirement and all this sort of shit. You know, it's like, but, you know, if you stop to really think about how fucked up that is, they don't want you to live your life while you're young. But you can have a bit of freedom when you're old and you can't really move around as much and you don't think quite as strong. You know, because there'll never be a revolution whilst everyone's stuck in fucking jobs 9 to 5 every day. You know, it's
never.
Like, it's pretty fucking weird. The weird thing is, the older I get, the more I think about it, and the more it makes me think, fuck, man, this is so so like the mate. I don't even smoke weed anymore, and I still think about it all the time.
Like, are you guys? How old are you guys? I wanted to know that. I'm curious.
We're all 27.
You're all 27. Really? Okay. All right. That's not. I mean, you're about to enter your 30s. But what's interesting is, like, I was like, this music doesn't feel like it's written by, you know, guys that are like 18 years old. That's what, you know, it feels like it's written from an older mindset in this idea, which is why, again, I don't know if I would have connected with this music at the age of 18 the way that I connect with it now at the age of 37.
Well, like you say, the lyrics and the themes, they sort of, I think, in order for them to hit you in the way that we're talking about, you don't have to have experienced what it's talking about, but I think it helps, you know, because you sort of think, fuck, there's a lot of the questions I ask in some of the music is, I sort of, are things I think a lot of people are asking themselves as well, you know, like, sort of, like you said earlier, sort of, I can't think of the example now, but I like writing questions, putting questions into things, you know, like,
because you have to, the listener has to answer the question. That's, you know, and it's freaking brilliant, man.
Like, just metaphorical, like, just I like thinking about the unknown, you know, and questioning the unknown, because the unknown is vast and interesting. You know?
Now I want to talk about. Oh no, sorry, John, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, go on. No, just we were literally just talking about all this the other day and saying how like you much prefer people just to interpret it how they want to and hear how they interpret it back to you. You know, like that's kind of why you wrote it.
Yeah, isn't that the best though? When you create art,
Yeah.
And then
definitely.
someone receives the art and then interprets it back. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's why I was so excited. I was
Yeah,
excited to
that's
talk to
the
you
thing.
guys.
You know, and I think that's what is missing a lot with music today is that link between the artist, the art, and the person who's sort of, you know, consuming it or whatever. Like because it becomes personal for somebody listening to it if it makes them think and connect it to things in their mind. Like
Sure.
it makes it personal. Then you sort of have this connection with those people. You know, from person whoever made it to whoever's listening. There's like a sacred weird connection there that a lot of music is kind of missing now, because you mean lyrically, I can't think all the fucking lyrics of a lot of this, certainly the big mainstream stuff, you know, like it's just, I mean, it's just a lot of it's drizzle. You have to really dig to find
it's all, yeah, it's just puff, it's fluff, it's marshmallow fluff.
It doesn't make you feel think anything, you know. And it's like it's like when you go and watch these films today, all these like big films, they don't make you think or feel anything. It's just the same bullshit over and over again. And it's like I don't see how anyone can deny that that's what it is. They just give you the same bullshit, slightly repackaged differently, just to keep you just there, like in a trance, you know, like
Sure.
a trance of like entertainment. It's like so boring.
Now when I was listening, you now it's very interesting about your marketing, or not marketing. I don't want to use that word, but like whatever, your promote whatever the way, because again, if you're trying to be a band, you have to think about these things. The same thing. I'm a filmmaker, and you know, if someone says what's your movie about, you can't sit there and give them a paragraph. You have to have a sentence ready. My movie is about this XYZ 1 2 3 ABC. Yeah, right. And so, you know, you guys say that you are the bastard. You're the bastard you're the bastard product of a one-night stand between the Ramones and the Strokes. And I think that's a really good thing for people who are not more, I think, familiar with some of the sonic shit you're doing. Because when I heard you, the very first thing that came to mind, and I say this in the most flattering way, is fucking Jay Retard, man.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Really, dude.
We're big fans.
Okay,
big
good.
Fans.
Because Blood Visions is the other album besides Blood
One of the
Visions.
greatest records ever made.
Oh, John! One of the greatest records ever made. My man, right there.
Do you know what's really
the other night? I was actually watching the Live at the Cake Shop thing on YouTube, and it's one of the best live sets.
One of
ever,
the best
man.
live sets ever. When he's like, "Get off my fucking
well.
pedal, motherfucker!"
Exactly. I think I've probably watched that like 10 times at least. You know, like,
it's amazing.
Compulsively,
it's flawless.
Compulsively watch that. Sorry, go ahead.
Funny enough, when me and Will were originally talking about, because Will texted me at one of our guitarists out of whenever this was, like 20.
He's the guy with the brown hair, right? He's not the blonde. There's a blonde guy who came later.
Yeah, right? That's George. Will,
the other guy. Hair. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, he did have blonde hair for a bit though. It's a bit fucking. Them two always changing their hair. It's a bit of a sort of.
He got MK Ultra.
Yeah, but no, but we were talking about starting a band, which was what this band became. And he sent me. He said he kept talking about this Jay Retard guy, and I'd never heard of him. And he was saying like, "Oh, there's this guy, blah, blah, blah," and like every time he comes on my shuffle, like it bursts my fucking eardrums because it's so like just like horrible, loud. It's so much louder than everything. And I remember him saying this to me so many times, and like I didn't listen to it straight away, and then eventually I listened to it, and I felt like I'd never heard anything like it before. I was like, what is like, this is just because it's so catchy, but it's so aggressive, and I was just like, fuck, man, this is like the combination of like everything that I love in one thing.
So the sad thing about that cake shop video, and what kills me, you know, I'm from New York, right? I sit right above Manhattan. Yeah. And I was going to shows. That whole time when when that cake shop show happened, I could have gone to that show. I could have been there. And it was not on my radar at the time. Yeah. Literally 2 years later is what opened me up to the whole modern garage rock scene with, you know, was No Bunny. I had listened to the Mummies. I listened to the Mummies, and then I listened to No Bunny, and I listened to King Kong and the Barbecue Show, and those, and Jay Retard, and those things, and the Oblivions.
I think we had the same kind of gateway, to be honest, man.
Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. But when I hear, first of all, the drumming, when immediately I'm listening to the drumming on Bad Nerves, just all the songs, that is the drumming, that ferocity, that energy. That is not Ramones. You may think
No.
it's Ramones. That is the fucking drummer from Jay Retard, man.
Yeah,
like
I feel like Ramones sort of started it, and then Jay
Sure.
Retard stuff took it to that far. Like, you know,
it's all related. It's all related.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's definitely
to my
that
ear.
Was that Billy Hayes was playing on that cake shop one. He's the guy from Waves, I think.
Yes.
He kills that set, man.
And you know,
it's unbelievable drumming.
He's playing it so much faster than on record, which I love. It's like
No breaks either.
Yeah,
no
Blood Visions, like
Blood Visions, baby.
Playing that, man. It's
that song, My Shadow, like that whole album, like just I get so pumped up, like I just get it makes me like a rabid dog. I get ferocious listening to those songs. And you know who you might like? You should check out Wolfface, who's also they're down in Florida. I consider them friends. Their music, it doesn't, their music is very inspired, and they actually, it was funny because I was like, this is a great band. I love this band. And then a cover of I Am a Girlfriend by Nobody comes on, and I go, oh, this band is my band. Like this, because they're fucking, I was like, okay, you guys know. Yes. And I was like, you guys know what's up. And so because I missed Jay Retard, and he died so young, every time No Bunny would come into town, I was like, I'm going to go to every single No Bunny show, which is what I did until
in case he dies.
or implodes. And it was the latter of the two, which again, heartbreaking. But that's that album that when I'm listening to Bad Nerves, I'm going, okay, so you have Jay Retard, but then here's the thing. Obviously, there's the Strokes vibe. Like you guys have a Strokes vibe for sure. But there is, dude, there's so much Buzzcocks in you guys as well. I hear Buzzcocks, man.
I mean, we love the Buzzcocks. So.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's great. Yeah. As a matter of fact, that all the lyrical content, particularly like the fact that, what's interesting about the Buzzcocks too, is that the Buzzcocks are almost like this punkish version of the Beatles from 1964.
Yeah.
And I hear in your melodies are super Beatle-y, man. Like the Beatles.
there's a reason for
that. Really? Yeah. Please explain.
There's a big reason for that. Well, actually, just funnily enough, like a lot. I didn't get properly into the Beatles until a lot later. Like I listened to, like when I was younger, like my dad and stuff would play like Bowie and shit like that, and the Beatles were like one of those bands who were so big and so like, everyone knew who the Beatles were or whatever, but I never really gave them the time until I was a bit older. And when I finally started listening to them, I mean, they're my favorite band ever now. But when we did this record, I hadn't really properly gotten into them at the time. And now since that first record, I listened to the Beatles. They're like just non-stop for basically since we recorded this first album. I've listened to Beatles non-stop, and I've covered the whole of Abbey Road in Bad Nerves style. I've done like
really?
Oh, you need to hear it. You need to hear it.
Shit.
You need to hear it.
Yo, Paul McCartney, John, as a bass player, Paul McCartney. Like, what's funny? Everybody always talks about bass players. Like nobody knows that Paul McCartney. There you go. What is that? Oh, that's the songbook.
It's just learning all of it.
Oh my God. So you know what's fucking crazy? So you know what's crazy about Paul McCartney's bass playing that nobody ever wants to talk about, or nobody, like, first of all, you got to go on YouTube and you got to listen to Isolated Bass on Abbey Road all the way through with Paul McCartney, because it's fucking insane.
That album, man.
It's the best. It's so good.
He plays what's with amazing his thumb. It's like weird, man. I don't get it.
But he doesn't repeat himself on later shit. He just is like, I'm never gonna. He's the fucking rhythm. He's the fucking bass player. Yeah. He doesn't. He's just like, I'm just gonna subversively write a song underneath George Harrison's song.
It's just so fucking crazy with that, like Abbey Road album, like. Because I was like, like we were talking about like earlier, like, well, I was obviously listening to them on Spotify when I was getting into them, and I've got a bunch of their records now, but when I was first listening to them, I didn't have any of the records, and I would listen to Abbey Road, like, in its entirety, just like so often, probably nearly every day, and for ages, I didn't really grasp like the track listing, because from about halfway, I was listening to it and I thought like it was all, it sounds like one big song.
Right. You don't think of it as a record. Yeah. You don't think about the A side, B side.
Yeah, and you look at it, you look at the track listing, and you realize that pretty much the whole second half of that album, every song is about a minute long, and they all blend into each other. And I was like,
Snippets.
that blew my fucking mind. Like, even like with this second record I'm doing now, I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I've got like loads of little ideas where they're not whole songs, but I've got some really cool bits, and I think, well, if I can't turn that into a song, I'm just gonna make it into a medley like Abbey Road did. You know what?
Oh, yes.
So
it's already
cool.
happened. It's already happened.
So cool,
okay,
man.
just when I didn't think I could like Bad Nerves anymore, Bad Nerves admits, because you know it's not cool to admit that you like the Beatles today. It's like, they're so popular. It's like, fuck you, man. The Beatles are the GOAT for a fucking reason. I love my J Retard. I love fucking Misfits. I love the Mummies. I love the Ramones. I love all these Iggy and the Stooges, all of it. But you know, it's funny, John, you say you watch my show because John told me before we started the show that he actually was familiar. He recognized,
I'm a subscriber. I'm a subscriber, man.
The guy from the Bad Nerve subscribes to my channel because he likes that I talk about the Misfits. If you think I could talk about the Misfits, I could, like, the Misfits, my knowledge of the Misfits pales to my knowledge of the Beatles.
That's a pretty insane claim.
I am a voracious, and if you watch, I actually did a breakdown of what's it called? Let It Be. The Get Back series. I did. It might be 12 hours long. It's divided into 3 parts, and I watched all. No, sorry, it's 8 hours. It's 8 hours long, and I watched the entire series, and I took notes, and then we went over. You know, I've read a lot of books about the Beatles. So like, again, like if you want to read a really great book about the Beatles, again, this is the relationship, the chemistry side, not the musical side of things. Fascinating story. You Never Give Me Your Money by Peter, what's his name? Peter something. And the book starts really with Brian Epstein dying. And it is a fascinating look about all the times that the Beatles almost reunited through the 70s and all of the dealings and all the business stuff and like a lot of some of it's salacious and some of it is like take it with a grain of salt kind of bullshit. But this guy is super well researched and he goes into all sorts of in and outs. I don't know why I'm talking about this, just that I love the Beatles as much as I love the Misfits. It's called You Never Give Me. I'll email it to Jazz. You Never Give Me. It's You Never Give Me Your Money. And originally Abbey Road was going to be called Everest, and they were going to take a photo on the top of Everest, and then they were like, fuck it, let's just go outside.
Let's just go outside.
But think about how iconic it is, and it was just an afterthought.
They'd have probably died up there.
Could have. I mean, if you get stranded on the side of Everest and they can't get to you, you're fucked.
I've been down all the rabbit holes with all the bodies left on Everest, man. I love all that shit.
Insane situations.
Right. I read George Martin's biography actually, just because he was like a huge part of the Beatles.
Sure, he's the 5th Beatle, one of them.
Yeah, I mean, like, because there's when you're first getting into the Beatles, whatever, you hear the thing like, "Oh, he was the 5th Beatle," and you think, you haven't gone deep enough to really care who George. I forgot his name now. What's his name?
George Martin.
George Martin.
Yeah.
You haven't gone deep enough to sort of like care too much, and then as you go deeper, you start to realize the role that he played and like how talented he was as well, and you sort of think. So I was reading his biography, just trying to know more about the sort of technical side of what they did, because it's groundbreaking shit, man. It's nuts.
I have a recommendation. Okay, I have a recommendation for both of you. And again, it's super weird. I'm not into sports. Sports is not my thing. Music is my thing. Bands are my thing. Bands are my sports. I read a book about recording engineering, and I know jack shit about recording engineering. Jeffrey Emmerich, You Never Give Me Your Money. No, sorry. Here, There, Everywhere.
It's the same as the other one.
Oh my God! No, it's called Here, There, and Everywhere. My Time Recording the Beatles. This was the engineer. He was there from Please Please Me. He wasn't the engineer yet, and he was there all the way. He recorded Band on the Run with Paul and Lagos.
Oh, sick!
I mean, he was there I think he left during the White Album sessions because shit just got really toxic or whatever. But he was there for everything, and so what would happen is. And this is like the beauty of melding technical aesthetic with artistic creativity. John Lennon would be like, hey, I want to sound like 1,000 monks chanting on the top of a mountain. And Jeffrey Emmerich, because the Beatles could do whatever the fuck they want, right?
Yeah.
They just like, it's like John Lennon goes, I want to sound like a fucking monk chanting, or John Lennon goes, I'm really lazy. I don't want to double track. I don't want to do my vocals again.
Yeah.
So they just delayed it by like a millisecond, and they accidentally invented double track recording.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles, like the techniques that they pioneered in the studio, and it's detailed in this book from this guy's perspective who was there. And you know, some of it has been disproven that like he's like kind of like an embellisher a little bit, but it is absolutely an astounding read for anybody who's into the Beatles, for anybody who understands recording music.
What do you say, Jeffrey
Emmerich? I'll email. I'll send you a link. I'll refer. I'll send all this stuff.
Christmas
in an email
is coming up, mate. Christmas is coming up.
Well,
you have to read that book if you are into the Beatles and recording and whatnot. It's fucking fast. Like just the idea of how they would record on Revolver, like the idea that like for Tomorrow Never Knows, like Ringo Starr essentially invented like drum loop sampling, you know, but by doing it live. The idea that they created sound collages using little tape loops, and they had to synchronize all these different machines to all work together at the same fucking time. It's fucking crazy.
All that magic of all that stuff that they had to do all this crazy shit, and you sort of think, and this was before phones were there, so nobody was like getting bored and looking at this fucking phone. Everybody's really like in it. They're mind like trying. How do we do this? Blah, blah, blah. It's just amazing. And now today, like everything's made on a fucking laptop.
Everyone would be on their phone, wouldn't they, if that documentary was made?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's crazy, the craziest part of all, is that Sgt. Pepper, which everybody is like the zenith, the peak, whatever. I'm always been a White Album guy, but Sgt. Pepper, which everybody goes is like, right? Yeah, of course, Abbey Road. Sgt. Pepper was recorded on 4 tracks.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Recorded on 4 tracks.
That's
and people don't understand, like for anybody who listens to this and doesn't understand how fucking insane that is.
It's insane.
If you want to create more room, you have to bake all the shit you did. You have to bounce it down to 1 track and go sacrifice a generation of quality.
Exactly.
Just so like, oh, we want some extra harps.
Yeah. Like it's and that album is, you know, if you listen to that and you understand enough to know how limiting 4-track recording is, it boggles the mind.
Sure.
Sure. Imagine being there. Like if you could just go back and just be a fly on the wall and watch them do that, because you'd be like, that's the great thing. That's the thing. Problem is, I think a big problem now is that we don't have any limitations anymore, and because you can do everything on your computer and you can make it sound amazing. There's no limitations. It's almost like you've been spoiled, so you don't have to really try, blah blah blah, and like that kind of lack of having to make an effort bleeds into every part of the creative process, and before you know it, you're just watching telly because you can't be asked.
This is what this is, you know, particularly in filmmaking, when people, you know, again, there are many advantages. I wouldn't have been able to make any films if it wasn't for, you know, digital technology, because I just can't simply afford it. However, there is a truth. There is, like, I hate to use, this sounds so stupid, but there is a truth to the idea of shooting on actual film. And, you know, we only have this much film. Then all of a sudden, because we only have this much film, we can't get coverage, which means that we need to compose our shots. We can't just shoot on a bunch of different angles.
Actually,
we have to actually creatively think of interesting ways to get the composition, because we have to get it all on this reel, you know?
Exactly. And it's like if you went in the studio, it's like, right, guys, you can only record these parts twice or once.
Sure.
You know, I mean, you would practice, you would like,
sure,
you would prepare, you know. That's the thing, we don't have to prepare anything now, and it's like I think it's
but it also has its benefit. Listen, it's like any technology, it has its pluses and it has its minuses,
of course.
You know, like I know that the idea, like when you're recording to tape, on, you know, as a musicians, there are some back in the day, if you had to get a guitar solo, you had like 3 tries to do it, because if you did it too many times on the same piece of tape, you just fuck up, right? Like
exactly. And that's what I love. That's what I love when you listen to like so many of the, you know, sort of band like Iggy and the Stooges. Like there's so many records, and you listen.
Funhouse was all done live.
Yeah, there's so many things where it's like, that's because you can do it and do any like take or whatever it is as many times as you want. You don't even have to record. You can just do it on the computer with fake instruments now. Like you can do all that shit. Like the human element is just, it's gone. is a thing of the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
Like, it's completely
I,
gone.
I
And it's,
love mistakes left in music.
yeah,
Like I
love them.
prefer it.
Yeah.
I want the
Re-
final record to have loads of mistakes in
Yeah,
it.
exactly. It's sort of there's something really missing now in this sort of the way people record and stuff, and I mean I'm talking from experience. I grew up
Sure.
with all obviously all the tech, most of the technology. I went to and did music tech or whatever it is in college, and all that shit, blah blah blah. And like I grew up doing everything on a computer in this really rigid way, and that was just all I ever knew. And I couldn't believe that anybody would just go in a studio and play it live. That's how like sort of lost I was for my younger years. Like didn't really understand it, and then you have to sort of unlearn that stuff because you realize like even though it serves a purpose and it can be great for some things, this whole digital freedom, doing that stuff, like there's a lot of things that you do lose, and I think they're
You
important.
lose the human element, the
Exactly.
swing,
Yeah,
the
human,
swing, right?
the push and pull of the tempo. Like I've been doing some tracks, like when I used to demo stuff, I used to, do some random stuff, and I'd be like, "What tempo do I want it?" And I would set up a metronome, and all that sort of shit. And that's what I would always do it like that. And these days, I don't do that. I just do it purely by how does it feel. And
Wow.
and then if I want to use a metronome in a studio to do it again later on, I build the metronome around what was played in the demo. If I like it like that, and it's and that way you sort of keep so much of the human element. But for years, I couldn't fathom doing stuff with that metronome, and now I'm like, what was I thinking? Like it's good for some things, but not for everything.
I have to recommend to both you and John, you guys have to check out. I don't know if you guys are Pixies fans, but
Yeah. Like,
okay. So the guy from the Pixies who writes all the music, his name is Black Francis. He changed his name to Frank Black, and he had a solo career. And when he had this band called Frank Black and the Catholics, he went from doing multi-track recording the way that people did casually, indie or not, and he would all of his solo records are recorded on 2-track tape that he would do in a mobile recording studio.
That's pretty cool, though, isn't it?
Bro, you have to listen to get on Spotify when you get off here and listen to some of those Frank Black and the Catholics. Listen to Frank Black, Honeycomb. Listen to, and again, he's got more of like a country twang sound. They went from being, what the Pixies sound like, but
yeah, for sure.
He veered off in his own direction. But what's truly remarkable, particularly, I would say, listen to Pistolero was a great record. What's amazing though is that when you're listening to that, whatever you listen to of Frank Black, all of it's live, meaning they very seldomly ever did an overdub, and all of it was done on 2-track live to tape because he believed in this very precise studio setting, but he believed, and the reason why Honeycomb is so great is because he got a bunch of old school, kind of like the Wrecking Crew. I don't know who they are, but like old school musicians from like Tennessee or something, I forget where, to knock out these songs. And when you hear the precision and the tightness of this band, you have to think about how they got to that place. And you will I think you guys particularly would really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, definitely.
Check that out. Which brings me to my next question. Sorry, John, what were you going to say? John, go ahead.
No. I think it was Rob.
It was me. No, I was just going to say, I think it just made me think what she was talking about how, like, because like this sort of, I think young kids, there's this sort of strive for perfection, like, I mean, I used to have that when I was younger. When I was first trying to record, I would spend like just so much time trying to record things and sing things like perfectly and all this crap. And like, because you hear so much modern music that is done so perfectly, and like you're sort of, and if you're one of these people who didn't grow up in a household where you had access to some of these records that weren't recorded, sort of so perfectly or whatever, like you almost don't realize that it's the imperfections is what makes it good most of the time. Once you suck all of that out and it's all perfect on the computer, you sort of, it just sounds fake, and you sort of think like you spend all that time, the kids spend all that time trying to reach this level of perfection that isn't real, and you sort of think, it's kind of I don't know, sort of dangerous.
I think that's what made Joe Retard so good, though, isn't it? I remember listening to a thing talking about he recorded his first thing on some kitchen pots and pans.
Exactly.
Got like that's the sort of thing that kids should be doing. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Making a drum kit out of pots and pans.
Yeah.
And
if you ain't got a drum
on a computer.
Exactly. Just do it like that.
When you listen to those solo records and you hear some of the, all the hand claps, which by the way, you guys have buried down on some of your songs. You got a little hand clap action
Yeah,
going on,
Yeah.
little bit.
Snuck him in.
No, it's great. It's fucking great, man. Which brings me, okay, so now you guys open your set sometimes, at least right now, at least, I don't know, more, I don't know what period this is. You guys like to open with Mad Mind, which is one of my favorite fucking song. I mean, just love that song so much. You open with Mad Mind, but you made this decision where you all stand. I mean,
You know what? It's not an opener. It's not an opener.
It's
That's
not?
halfway through.
Halfway through, yeah.
I thought that was an opening of the set, and then you go like this.
Yeah. Now that we do that then right in the middle because you know
What?
we need to take a breather.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought that was, I was like, oh, they're opening I took that when I would watch them live because I was always looking for those ones. I was always looking for Dreaming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Baby Drummer. Baby Drummer seems to be a very popular song. I love Baby Drummer. Baby Drummer's great, but it's not like, for me, like if I have to pick a handful of songs above the rest, it's fucking Mad Mind, Dreaming, Terminal Boy, Electric 88. Like, oh,
That's
just
kind of the same as us actually. I mean that
really?
like I love Baby. All of us love all the songs on the album.
Sure.
I mean, me and John, and always loved Mad Mind was our favorite. Probably is arguably. If I had to pick one to listen to on
Stop,
repeat,
I think at the moment. I
and
think Mad Mind, Don't Stop are my two favorites.
But
I love you guys posted the lyrics of as you were writing the lyrics. And I left a comment. Somebody responded to my comment. I left a comment about how much I love that song on your Instagram because I was like looking through your Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, I've got a feeling actually. It's funny you say that. Oh, where are they? I found a load of the old lyrics from when not all of them, but from when some of them were being written. I kept them with the intention of posting them as well, but bang around to it.
Wait, so the break, so the space with Mad Mind, so that is done as like a breather. But what's interesting about it is that
it doubles up as a breather. We didn't do it because of that. We did it. We did it because we thought it was cool. But then we were
it's so cool. It's so fucking cool,
well.
dude. It like sets everything up. It makes it coils up the audience like a spring trap, and then you let the band know. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just launch into the song. And
sometimes he does it for so long though. Sometimes
that's awesome. I love that. I love that.
I think like the longest was like 2 minutes or something.
That's amazing.
It went on forever. It
like
went on for so long.
If the crowd, if it's like every now and then you have a gig. Sometimes they're normally festivals. You know, sometimes you have a festival gig. Be a lot of people, but it's not necessarily your crowd or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, and you sort of stand there. And it's like, okay, well, you know, if people aren't going to get involved in this, then I'm just going to stand here for a while and just see what happens. You know, you just wait to see what the reaction will be, just to sort of wind them up a bit.
Now, all right. So interesting observations. First of all, I'm really glad that you got rid of the guitar because you're a phenomenal front man. I mean, that's you rock it as the front man. What's interesting about John, I love that John is like, he's like a statue. He just stands in one place. And what's interesting is you guys are playing at breakneck fucking speed, and John never looks. He has such a poker face. He's got his fucking glasses on. He's got the cool fucking jacket. He's got the cool ass earring, and he's just standing there. And it's like he's not even breaking a sweat as you guys are going breakneck.
That was years of practice because for the first few years, I said I'm always playing a leather jacket because of obviously Dee Dee.
Yeah,
and so I taught myself to hold that sweat in. But now that jacket is no more. It could wear me. Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Dude, you're just standing there. Your fucking wrist must be, because he's not really moving his. Here's the other thing that's interesting about John is John doesn't move his arm. He's just really moving his wrist, much like the Ramones. Here's the secret.
Yeah. His bass is so low.
Yes, he keeps his bass low. But what's interesting is, and this is again the secret weapon of the Ramones that people don't realize, and I think this goes with both. Maybe not with Dee Dee, but it definitely goes with Johnny and Marky/Tommy, but particularly Marky. Marky perfected the wrist technique that Tommy had invented. But what's interesting is it's the idea of the wrist. It's the wrist. All the fucking wrist, all the power comes from the wrist. And John, seemingly, again, not a bass player, not a musician, just from watching you on YouTube. It seems like all of that shit is in your wrist. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, no, it definitely is, because I don't think you can like thrash about and be that accurate. Do you know what I mean?
Right, like
you
Dee
see
Dee.
people playing all, yeah.
Like
but like I mean,
around.
they downstroked like everything, and like downstroking all bad nerve stuff would be near on impossible
Oh
to
my
do
God.
all like
Oh,
don't stop would be impossible. But like
Yeah.
we try and do the downstrokes live when we can to as like kind of like homage to all
yeah.
that, you know.
I mean, John jumps around. John's got the fucking jumps fucking
Yeah,
down.
he does. Yes. On occasion, John gets really excited and he jumps up. He does. You do, John. You do jump.
He's got the jumps nailed.
Just for the
You're right.
camera.
No, that's true. You're right. You're right. But
I got a bit excited at a gig the other night, and I almost started doing a bit of a John jump, and I got scared, so I stopped.
yo, listen, when you jump wrong, man.
You
Oh,
almost
it's a
jumped on my
fishbone
back,
show.
man.
That'll fuck up your
I mean,
spine, man.
I can jump off the kick drum, but jumping on the spot is it's a whole nother thing. That is.
When you did that in that Dreaming video, when you get up on that fucking drum riser and come down, like that's the video. Like if you guys don't need a video to sell your band because your band is just fucking like awesome, but if you needed to sort of like be like if I had to share like a video of the Bad Nerves, I would just share that video because I'd be like, I feel like that it shows you kind of in a live setting. You're playing live. It's one of my favorite songs of yours. It all sort of works together in that kind of way. What I wanted to ask you about, tell me about the backing vocals on and coming to the backing vocals. They kind of have this weird sort of effect or filter on them. It's like you're good. It's a really weird thing, but it's really awesome. It's like everything's like that's terrible.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's this weird. What are you doing? What's going on?
I think there's a certain like sound like we are quite like that nasally sort of like
yeah, that's what it is. It's so interesting.
Yeah, because otherwise, because if you just
like a lot of like the kind of early punk stuff was all nasally, you know. Jay Retail's kind of nasally as well, isn't it? Like
there's something about like if you took those dreaming backing vocals and you went, you know,
right,
you'd be like, God, this sounds crap. So like
choir.
Yeah,
right.
Sort of
it makes it snotty.
Yeah, it
makes it snotty.
Yeah, it gives it like it just sits better. It sounds cooler. I don't know. It's just like a bit more interesting, you know.
I really love it. And you know, another thing, we've talked about some of the musical stuff, but also the vocal melodies are so fucking fascinating on all of these friggin' tracks, man. Like the way that you guys have such a grasp on vocal melody, and it just adds so much to the song. So it's like you have all these elements. So it's like, yes, I understand, and you know, I know why you guys are like in your PR thing, whatever the thing, the statement, it says power pop, and I understand why and the approach. And again, like, you know, especially when you talk about the Beatles and stuff, the Beatles, you know, are pop, and clearly there's some Beatles in there and stuff. But like, that's not what I see when I see your band. I see like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, you have synthesized a sound from so many interesting like places. And it's just, I really think that you are poised for a big fucking splash, man. I really, really do. I really, really do.
Yeah, well, we you know, it's some of those things we sort of we really love the music. I mean, this is the first time we've ever done something where it seems like the people who hear it and like it, they like it and connect with it the same way we do, and that's like really cool. Obviously, really fucking cool. We've never really had that before, you know. So it's we kind of accidentally stumbled across this sort of I mean, the influences are obvious, but it's sort of come out. It feels like we managed to come out with something. You
made something original from the influences, and that's what's so fucking great.
I feel like, I mean, I never used to think that, but now I sort of listen to other bands and stuff, and I feel like, you know, I can't think of any current bands that sound. I know bands that have similarities, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't say we're the most original band ever, but I like to think we've done something it's a little bit original.
You've done something fresh. Well, here's what you've done. You've taken a bunch of different like sort of sonic aesthetics, and you've done something. You've crafted fresh, interesting songs with them, and that's what. And it's really, you know, that's really what where to sort of put the focus. And here's my question. So you decided to record the album independently.
Mhm.
What does that exactly mean when you never signed a record deal per se.
Well,
You just did
we
it
have,
yourself. Oh, you
yeah.
have
So
now. You have
yeah,
now.
so we signed, but only like small, you know. Like we were signed to a really cool label called Suburban Records in Netherlands, like a
Okay.
really small little independent place, like great people. So we did that, but we never the album we I can't remember what the exact details of the deal were, but I think it was only one album. And yeah, and we paid our friend to sort of record it for us properly and whatever, and but yeah, beyond that, we haven't really ever had any.
I think a lot of it as well is like whenever we've gone to like other producers and things like that, it's just not like they can be like amazing producers, but it's like we know the sound that it should sound like, and we know that if we go with Mike, our friend, then we're going to get that. You know, with Bobby there looking over it all and stuff, we're going to
That's the
get
thing.
exactly what
Yeah,
we
me,
want
me,
rather than
me,
wasting people's time. You know.
yeah, me and Mike, when we did that album, when we first recorded it, all we were going by was the demos that we did in here, which was like just me and Will, like just. And I'm not a mixer. Like I mix things for fun, but I'm not like I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm good enough, whatever the fuck that means. I certainly didn't have the skills to make it sound how I wanted this band to sound, but I knew my
Holy
mate.
shit. Whoever mixed and mastered this fucking album is a
Yeah.
genius.
Oh, we got it mastered at Abbey Road.
Oh,
Yeah. No, because but the funny thing is that's not because like you know we had sort of help or anything. We, funnily enough, our manager was good friends, and our mate who mixed it were good friends with a guy who's from our small little town who happens to be a mastering engineer at Abbey Road. So mental,
shit.
Yeah,
and he's a
it was
fucking
meant to
legend.
Where
be.
are you guys from?
We're from
In
sort of we originally said we were from London. We were actually from just outside of London in a place called Essex. But when
just
we
like
started,
me. Just like me,
yeah,
right outside of the big city.
exactly, yeah. It's
I
because
know Essex. Sure.
yeah, when we started, we didn't think anyone would ever fucking hear his band, so we thought we won't say we're from Essex because
Yeah,
nobody knows.
London.
Let's just say London sounds a bit cooler. Now it's like,
Chicagoland area. I'm from the Chicago, even though I'm 90
yeah,
fucking minutes outside of Chicago.
yeah,
Chicagoland area.
exactly. But yeah, no. So we mastered at Abbey Road, and then like with that whole album, like we recorded it, and then I just because me and Mike were such good friends, we were able to spend so much more time sitting together using like his sort of technical prowess mixed with my kind of knowing how I wanted it to sound based on the demos we'd done, and then we kind of just mashed those two worlds together, and it's sort of and it took quite a while. Like, there's quite a lot of in fact we recorded the album in April 2018 and we didn't finish, it wasn't finished until nearly 2 years later and it came out in 2020. So
Wow.
because we weren't mixing for 2 years, but there was so much time between. I was trying to re-record bits like vocals. Like I've got a funny picture actually which I've been meaning to post, which is a picture of my desk in my bedroom at the time, and I was living in this haunted, crappy, horrible pub, and I had this huge room, and like this is how DIY it was, and I just had my laptop with like this fucking preamp and a microphone. And that's where I recorded all the vocals, just like in this.
You want to know something?
Yeah.
You know the Bad Brains, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know
for
how
sure.
they recorded Sacred Love?
No.
HR was in jail.
No
Oh
way.
yeah, down the phone, right?
They had to do it. John's right. They had to. So they had one last song to do. They had booked time. HR had to go to jail, and they arranged it with the guards. They said they put the receiver outside. He was like barred in, and like the somewhere like the receiver, and they put the receiver
It
right
doesn't
up
get
next
any
to the
cooler
mic
than that,
in the
does it?
fucking studio. And when you hear that filter, that baby, that's just
Yeah,
him
yeah.
on the fucking phone. That's not an effect.
Oh,
And
that's
that's why who fucking cares? Like that's so much more interesting
yeah.
That's
What
the
cool
best use of a
story.
phone ever.
ever. Here's
That's all
another crazy one for you. I've been talking about this a lot. This is a revelation. Now, the Bad Brains, they got their name from the Ramones song Bad Brain. Now, if
Recently, actually.
yeah, so if you listen to Bad Brain
Yeah.
at twice the speed, because they thought they put the record on at what is it? There's 33,
3 and then
70 something,
45.
45, and
Oh,
then
yeah, yeah.
70 or something like that. They put it on twice as fast as the record is supposed to be played.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, and listen, this is just my ear. I'm not saying that this is the truth. you will hear Attitude by the Bad Brains when you put
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
For
when
real?
you listen to Bad
I need
Brain,
to try that out.
it's not exact. It's not exact.
Yeah.
But the point is, the legend of the story is that they said all of our music should sound this fast and ferocious.
Yeah.
And when you hear that song, you can almost go, oh, that's where they got inspired to do Attitude. And that's where I want to think that they got the.
See, that's why I'm subscribed to your channel for factoids like that, man. That was a good one.
I can't believe you're fucking subscribed to my channel. This is so cool. Because I got to tell you, and then let me ask you this about, and this is what, to bring us back to Spotify for a minute. Because again, I know this is a touchy subject with musicians, especially.
I'm not on it, so I don't know.
I get it. But like at the same time, like, you know, and I understand, like, you know, it's hard to get paid for the shit that you make creatively in this day and age. It just sucks.
You're not wrong.
It just sucks. And I'm in the trenches in a completely different area, you know, trying to do the same shit, much less successfully than you guys. But the point is that people are fucking hearing your music because of Spotify. I think it seems like a lot of people have fucking a million. You guys got millions of streams.
Yeah,
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
The crazy thing,
fucking mad.
When we first put the album, when that album came out, and when is it? 20th November 2020, I think it was. I think we had like 6,000 monthly listeners. So and we've done. I mean, we've played shows. You know, we've obviously played shows and stuff, but we haven't. All of our music videos came out in the lead up to that album coming out. So we haven't done any music videos, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, and it's just grown off of almost like word of mouth and Spotify algorithms, you know, like it's like, I like to think of it as being like almost a homage to the past, you know, where people would tell other people about it, because we haven't really promoted it, you know, we've gone and played shows and that's it, you know, like, but you're only playing to a small amount of people, and well, not small, but you know, compared to what you can do reach on the internet.
But but here's what's crazy. So here's what's really crazy, and this is what's interesting, and this is why, like, really one of the main slice. And again, I understand it's a very sensitive topic because, like, you know, again, like I feel like musicians are not paid nearly enough from these places. But the weird flip side is at the same time they're getting exposed. They're getting insane exposure that they would never fucking get otherwise. So it's like this weird devil's bargain.
But it's the classic thing, isn't it? Like, we're not going to pay you money, but we will give you exposure.
But in this case, in this weird sort of case, I would not know. The truth is, we would not be talking right now. I would not know who you were, and I would not have recommended. As soon as I heard your album, I texted that guy in Wolfface I was talking about. I was like, you got to hear these guys. Same thing with my friend Rich. You got to hear these guys. It's like, you know, when you discover a band that you like, it's currency.
Oh, hey, totally. Yeah.
I found this new band. Check them out. This is what I think they sound like. And they're like, holy shit, yeah. And everybody agrees with me on.
In my friendship group as well, when you find a sick band and you get your other mates into it, you constantly get to bring it back up and say, remember when I found that band?
Yeah, it's currency, dude. It's fucking currency.
Egg on top of it,
mate. But here's what's interesting. So COVID hits. Like, the COVID hits right as you fucking release this fucking album.
Yeah, just before, I think it was.
Now,
we weren't really sure whether to release it then or not, but we kind of took a punt then.
Oh my God.
You know what the fucking thing is? Like, trying to put an album out when you like, unless you literally write it on your own, you don't tell anyone, and then you just put it on the internet. Once you you end up getting so many sort of other people get involved, and then it's like this whole thing of you have to, you got to wait to do it at the right time and do it the right way and all this bollocks. Like, and I've known bands, like me and John, but I know I've got friends who are in bands for like 10 years, who it took them 10 years to put their first album out. And they were thinking, you know, when we finally put it out, it's going to go. And they put it out, and nothing happens, and they split up. You know, this is like if you got an album, you're writing something as a band, get it out. Just get it the fuck out. Because like we weren't sure whether to put that out or not. And we'd already been trying to get it out, and there was all this shit about, but we've got to do it through these channels, through like some label and all this, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, if we wait any longer, like,
it's done.
We're not going to bother, because it's already been 4 years, you know, or 3 years.
Right. You've sat with these songs for a very long, and, you know, I've heard Henry Rollins talk about this. You know, he talks about it with the Rollins Band, which is like, you know, the funny thing about the Rollins Band is like I feel like people like the Rollins Band because of Henry's association with Black Flag. But, you know, I don't really know that many people that are like super down with the Rollins Band, but he does talk about some interesting, you know, sort of concepts in that, like, they're like, first what we did was we recorded the songs, then we take the songs on the road for months. And months and months, and that's when the songs cook, and
Yeah,
percolate, get tight with songs, and then we
Yeah.
recorded the songs. And it was interesting because that's what I thought about. That's what was reminded of, even if it was not on the same sort of timescale, but just this idea that you've been playing these songs for years. You put them onto, then you finally get them down. Your band is not what it was when it started, and now your band is what it is now. And it is like, I mean, you guys are a sharp, dangerous instrument, honed, ready to
That
kill.
was the point. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, it's great. It's really, really great.
It was weird when we sort of, when the album finally came out and people started to hear it, like playing shows and people actually knowing the songs. It was like almost like we're like, okay, really, it really is time like to not suck, you know? Like not that I think we ever sucked, but it's still like when your people have come to watch you, you don't want to. You want to be good.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Like I love sloppy punk, man. It's some of the best. But like, if the songs are good and you've heard them on the record, you want to hear them to that standard. You know, you don't want to disappoint people. Like, and I think we feed off fans' energy a lot live. It kind of gets us going. You know.
Yeah, definitely. That's the best thing about live music is like even whether you're on stage or off stage, is just feeling that energy. You know, that we're from the crowd, from the band. Like just when everyone's just vibing in that way, it's fucking you can't beat it, really, can you? It's great.
Yeah.
What is, and you know, that kind of, again, if you've never listened to it, you have to check out Younger, Louder, Snottier, which is the rough. Oh, you know it. Okay. John knows his punk shit. The Younger, Louder, Snottier is the rougher mixes of Young, Loud, and Snotty by the Dead Boys. And it's much better. It's supreme. I can't listen to Young, Loud, and Snotty because it's so polished.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This is dirty. I mean, it's like rough and guttural, and the songs just sound so much better. And they have a different. They have "Hey Little Girl" instead of. Oh no, it's "Down in Flames." What is it? Something's different about that track listing. But yeah, Younger, Louder, Snottier, much superior version.
Did you hear the Ramones demos from like 1975? It's like the record. Man, like that
phenomenal.
For me is like. Mwah, chef's kiss. Like
chef's kiss. Yes, I agree. I really do. Those early
that record so many times.
And I'll even tell you, you know, if you go listen to "Glad to See You Go," UK, July 4th, 1976. "Glad to See You Go." You know, you guys brought the British invasion came in 1964, and then the Ramones came in 1976. And you know, everybody in the crowd that night started a punk band, right? That's the legend or whatever.
Yeah,
but that version of "Glad to See You Go" live is just it's tits, man. It's just friggin' tits.
I love that footage of when Dead Boy, the famous footage of Dead Boys playing at CBGB's, and just the way he moves like on the stage is like
stiff.
Was he got stuck on him? And that he's got like a bit of ham or something.
That's what it's like. It's crazy. I you know, the amount of times in my head I've been like, I want to move like that on stage, and then it's like, and then if you try and move that quickly, you're like, fuck. I don't know if I can.
Do yoga. You need to do yoga. Yeah. You need to do aerobics. You need. There's so many disciplines and heroin, of course. So I hung out with the Dead Boys. Sans Stiv was obviously dead. I hung out with the Dead Boys at the CBGB Gallery right before they did the only true reunion they've ever done. And the reason why is because I had read the book. I can't say it on YouTube or what will eventually be on YouTube. You know, the book by Legs McNeil, PKM, what that stands for. And I recognized Jimmy Zero, and I walked right up to him and I said, "Is it true that Stiv really jerked off in the chili at CBGB's?" And what was funny is there were all these kids waiting in line to go into CBGB's to see them play. Nobody knew that Jimmy Zero was standing right there in front of him smoking a cigarette. But I had my book and I had the pictures. I knew who he was. You know, so I walked up to him and he thought he got such a kick out of being asked that. He's like, come back with me. Come back here. So I was hanging out with him and his girlfriend. And over there was Jeff Magnum in the corner, and Cheetah Chrome had just had a kid, and Johnny Blitz. Bro, Johnny Blitz walks in. He's like, "Do not say a word about the stabbing," because Johnny Blitz was stabbed, almost stabbed to death in 78.
Brutal.
Yeah, fucking crazy, man. I got to go to CB's right at the very end of its
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
2003 to 2006, and then that was it.
So yeah,
Yeah. What is it, like a
actually,
museum or something now, or like a what is it?
no,
What do they do?
so what it eventually turned into, it's something called John Varvatos. It's kind of sad. It's bittersweet. Yeah, he's a fashion guy, and he preserved the walls of CBGB's, and yeah, the walls. So when you guys do come to New York and invade America, for which I will be there in the front fucking row with my shit kickers on, kicking shit in the pit. You have to go. You have to stop off there and at least see the walls of what
You'll have
once
to take us on a
was.
tour when we come over. You have to take us on a tour. Of New York.
I swear to fucking God, you guys, whatever you guys, let me know when you're in fucking town. We will get pizza, and I will show you fucking Lodi if you want to see it. Lodi is right across the
This
fucking.
sounds like the dream, man.
Yes,
Right.
you
Next year,
let me
hopefully
know.
we're
I
gonna
swear
be
to God,
planning,
dude.
so.
I swear to God, you hit me up. I will fucking do that. I would love. I mean, I'm not like an expert or anything, but I will. Yes, I would totally fucking show you those places. I want to know: how is America on the horizon in the somewhat distant future, or like what are the current plans right now for you guys in general?
Coming next year.
You are coming next year. Oh yes.
I think
That's-
so.
Oh, all right. I'll keep my fingers crossed, man.
Yeah,
That is
so
will
we.
awesome.
Obviously pending various things, but it's certainly being penciled in to happen. So
It's really hard for bands, especially independent bands from the UK, to get over to America. It's just like it's fucking difficult.
It costs the same amount
Yeah, it's the money.
to get a deposit on a house over here. It's the same cost, at least. So you basically. You can't do it. You can't do it without financial backing, basically. So we're hoping to get a little bit of financial backing to just about cover the cost of us being able to do it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Like
But it's
really
like a dream for us, man. Like that is the pinnacle of what we want to do is get to America and play for you guys. So.
Yeah, because you get the feeling like, don't get me wrong, we've got a lot of people over here in London particularly, but in the UK who like the band. But the numbers alone on the various streaming sites and stuff, you can see America is so into what we're doing that it's
which is surprising. I thought they'd have heard it all before. That's the thing that blew my mind. I thought Americans had heard all this before, and suddenly they're listening to Bad Nerves. It's like cool.
So it's like it just seems like the place to be for this band, so as you say,
it's a weird situation, and like I don't say this in a negative, I say it in like as just like a testament to like how fucking great you are, is that like again some bands they're too early and some bands they are too late, and it's like if you had like the music that you were making was so fucking like mainstream decades before you were making it, and it's like it's fresh now. It's fresh again. And I think people are tuned into this idea that like, holy shit, this is really great. And it used to be really popular. And it's like really great again. And like, just this idea of like, because rock has sort of it's weird. Like rock used to be the main fucking thing. And now it's like this little compartmentalized
it's just like almost irrelevant. It's
not irrelevant. It's just become, it's become a subgenre. It used to be a big thing. I wanted to ask this. So why Children of Heat, which is why I contacted you initially. Why Children of Heat particularly? Of all the songs, of all your influences that you could cover, and you were like, fuck, let's do the Misfits. I was so happy when I was like, these guys are what's up.
To be honest, like personally, they've been one of my favorite bands forever. And then I think me and Will, a few Halloweens ago, we were just listening to the Misfits just non-stop all of October. And we were like, oh, you know what? We should do a Misfits cover just because we love them. And Children of Heat is one of our favourite songs collectively. So it made sense. But that's pretty much it. And then we played it live in Benidorm the other day. And it was probably the most fun we've ever had. So
we played it live for the first time ever, and we in fact have we even rehearsed? No, we did actually. We don't really rehearse, but I think we did rehearse that, didn't we?
It's one of my favorite Misfits. I mean, I love all the Misfits songs. It's one of my favorite Misfits songs. It's from one of my favorite periods. I love that horror business lineup of the band is
for
just
sure.
the shit. And I just always loved just the, you know, the song and the idea. And, you know, again, like, you know, part of what makes the Misfits, the reason why I talk about Misfits so much on this channel, it's not just for the music. It's the idea that, like, it is this idea of this of self-empowerment through artistic entrepreneurship that you just and I see, frankly, that's kind of like when I heard that you guys like recorded your shit independently and, you know, put yourself, you know, you're on, you know, Spotify and everything, and have like sort of really in this grassroots kind of way are slowly building. I was enamored by that. I'm like, and then you have you know what else too? You have a really great YouTube channel. You put up stuff, because you know what? Because the first thing you do after you listen on Spotify is I got to see what these guys sound like live.
Yeah, of course,
you have there's a lot of people recording. A lot of the, you know, videos of you guys don't have, you know, it's just somebody on their cell phone. But then you took some really polished shit and put it on your YouTube channel. Be like, this is us when we're playing live. And it's in this place where even though we can't see you at a live show, it's in this place where we can find you right on the internet. Just not enough. Sorry, go ahead.
I spent so many hours on YouTube looking up bands that I'll never get to see live, just to find some live footage to know to experience it, you know. So that's why the internet's so good, isn't it? You know, like so many bands, so many like classic concerts and stuff. Even that, like the Cake Shop one we were talking about earlier, like I would never have seen that if it wasn't someone done a polished version on YouTube. So
you guys, are you familiar? A couple of bands recommendations or bands. First of all, do you know the Frights?
No, I don't.
Check out the
Frights.
Frights.
I've heard the name.
Check out the Frights. Not the German band who I actually was on tour with for Helm. They're in America. They're called the Frights. Got to check them out. Check out obviously, do you know King Kong and the Barbecue Show? Have you?
Yeah. Did you hear the Black Jaspers record? The two Black Jaspers records that King Kong did?
Never heard of them.
Really?
Yeah, I'm writing it down right now. Black Jaspers, you say?
Yeah. So King Kong did a record with a guy called Jasper who played in a band called the About Blanks that were like a German 77-ish kind of band. He's got like really super nasally vocals, and they did like one super raw album, and then they did a second one that never came out on vinyl, but the first one is like a black cover with the two of them on it. I can't remember what it's. It's like the recording is like toilet. It's amazing. It's like the worst it's the worst recorded stuff, but it's perfect. Like inside a crisp packet, sort of like. Yeah, you'll love it. I am a bit. I love. See, I'm that's, you know, that whole genre of budget rock in general. I think that, you know, it doesn't, the best thing you could do is get a unique sound. Like, yes, obviously all the stuff, Bobby, all the stuff you were saying about, like, you know, recording in, like, you know, the fundamentals that you learned in recording when you were younger are important and make sense. But at the same time, it's this idea of like, hey, like, that's a really fucking weird sound, or hey, let's record this in a bathroom because
But the crazy thing is, when I was doing that, when I did that Abbey Road like Beatles cover, like
is this going to come out in some sort of capacity?
I'm hoping so, but not until this second album is sort of going somewhere.
Tell me about that after you finish your statement. That's what I wanted. We'll wrap this up, guys. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Right. But I was say the Abbey Road thing was when I was demoing all of that, I just literally just put my iPhone in front of my drum kit, and it sounded fucking cool. Like, I didn't give a shit. I was, to be honest, I was getting smoking quite a lot of weed at the time, so I was like, I ain't gonna be setting up all this. I looked at all my stuff because I've got like a little setup here, you know, drum kit mic up, and I was just like, I can't be fucked with any of that. I'm just gonna put it on my iPhone, play it in, and then just take off my iPhone, put it on my laptop, and I was like, it's so much easier.
Sounds wicked though.
Yeah, it sounded cool.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
You know what that reminds
me of? In fact, you know what? The Misfits cover we did, Sam did the exact same thing. He recorded himself playing the drums into his iPhone, and that's on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, we've got a cover of it on our YouTube channel.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I've got to check that out. You know what's interesting? It's funny, but you know, it's funny. It's funny you say that. That reminds me very much of what the Sonics from the '60s, what their whole drumming, their whole miking technique for like The Witch and Strychnine and like Psycho and all those songs.
Classics.
Yeah, classics. They just took a dynamic microphone and they hung it on over the kit, and
Yeah,
that was
man.
it, man.
Yeah, I mean, Beatles,
Can't argue with that, can you?
I think the Beatles recorded like drums for a lot of their stuff. Just the Glyn Johns method, which is where you just have one mic over the top,
Right.
and one mic on the side, and then that's like you
Right.
just balance it out. Like it's crazy.
And
I've tried
Ringo,
that. I can't do it for shit.
I'll tell you, there's some great videos about how the Beatles. A lot of what they would do is they would put one microphone on the amp and then they put the other microphone on the room and then split the signal, that sort of thing too, to get like a combination. What the way Ringo would get his drums, which is so interesting, especially on Abbey Road, he got really into calfskin drum heads, and he would put tea towels down on the drums, and that gave it that very like
dry
fat. Yeah, it's fat and dry, and I'll tell you. You don't hear drums sounding like people love to shit on Ringo.
And
no, he's a legend. Yeah, he's
amazing.
Dude.
He's a genius. I used to think you used to hear that, before you really get into the Beatles, it's like Ringo, crap drummer, and you're like, yeah, Beatles are crap, shit drummer, blah blah. And then when you get into him, and it's because I'm a drummer, like I've played drums before I did anything else.
Wow.
So I love. You can't see it, but I've got like, oh yeah, you can't see it at all.
I would not have expected you to be a drummer. That's crazy. Whoa.
Yeah, I've got 3 drum kits behind me right now. That's what I spend all my money on. What was I saying? But yeah, but he's just, his parts are just so cool, so interesting.
You know why? Because he's a songwriter's drummer. And what he's doing, first of all, what he's doing, he does with no ego. There's no ego. I don't need to be, out there. I don't need to be doing this big bombastic solo. It's like what serves the song.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
What serves the song?
So creative the way.
Look at "And I Love Her." What is he doing on "And I Love Her"?
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
And you don't think, you go, oh yeah, anybody can do that, but it's like maybe anybody can do that, but does anybody?
Would they?
Would they? Exactly, and that's the idea of like what Ringo is doing. What makes Ringo so interesting is that he is a puzzle piece fitting into a larger puzzle of chemistry.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just intuition.
Excellently put.
It's just his intuition. He's just like, it wasn't like, oh, okay, drum beats normally go like this. Let's do something like that. Boom, ga, boom, boom. Ga.
Right.
Like what intuitively feels right with this track, and I think that's so much cooler.
Right. And and then on the flip side, you look at like again, what's the name of the drummer from J Retard? That what's his name?
Billy Hayes.
Billy Hayes. That fucking guy. Because what happened was his band quit on him. Yeah. And then he had a second band later on that was not nearly as, they just were not tight like the first band. Yeah. And that guy, he's not doing it. First of all, he's playing Jay's parts because Jay records everything. But it's just it's all about the speed.
Yeah.
All about speed.
It's ridiculous how fast that. Yeah.
Fuck. It's really fucking fast. Okay. Tell me about the second album. You guys have been recording a second album for how long now?
Well, we haven't even been recording it. It's just we're just writing, really. We've got Don't Stop and All Right, which are 2 tracks that are out, which may or may not go on the second record. We'll have to see.
Potentially there is a full record there. But it's like, again, it's the process, isn't it? Of we want to be totally happy with it before we show it to everyone. Like that's how we always kind of play it with these things. And there's definitely some absolute bangers there, I think.
Now, strategically, you come to America. Would you be presenting the first album, or would you think you would be slowly peppering in songs from the second album if you're trying to make a splash? How do you go about that?
To me, I sort of think that then the first record's still new to people. It's only like, it's not like an old record yet, really. It didn't really came out in a pandemic, so it hasn't really had its.
It's a brand new record to me personally.
Yeah, exactly.
People want to hear that live. Like if people haven't heard it live, they want to hear that live. There'll be a few new ones in there, definitely, but like I think. We owe it to the people that have been listening to that record to come and play that record for them.
Genius. Right? That's smart. That's smart. That's what you should do, because it's like you
want to introduce. What I want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely what I would want to see. But like, it's like this weird, tricky thing because it's like, oh, we've had these songs for so long, we've been playing them for so long, but you're going into a brand new market. How do we?
Yeah.
Do you try and do you try and mix it in with new shit, or do you
Yeah.
fucking like leave them fucking their ears ringing with the fucking shit that's so fucking tight? Because when people see you in America, they got to see that tight fucking weapon of mass destruction ready to blow their faces off that you guys are,
Oh, yeah.
It'll be that 100%,
Yeah.
man. Like,
We don't like practicing either, so we ain't gonna learn any new things.
yeah.
But like I think you guys are at, it's funny. It's like even though you had these songs for a long time, and this album had like this weird sort of birth and release structure. I feel like you guys are in like actually like a really good place in that kind of regard, because again, you have this album that has an online recognition and presence, and when you eventually introduce yourselves into a new market like America or whatever, and you have those songs down so live, you are going to leave Americans with such an impression of who you are, because you're performing at the pinnacle of what those songs need to be for that audience, in my opinion.
I think that's why we think we're sort of saying let's do the American thing, because we don't. It's sort of a question that was asked, and it was like, should we do it? And I think we all think, for the same reasons you just said, is that let's go whilst we're at the peak of this era. Let's go out there and some people
deliver it.
Don't let it pass you by.
No, exactly, because that will like, once that era is gone, it can never be seen again, and it seems a shame that people not really in the bigger picture is that not many people who have got to actually see it. So it's kind of especially because America, so many people are listening to the tracks. It seems like the place to go to whilst we're still in that sort of part of our career, if you like, or whatever.
Sure. I mean, and it's like a weird thing too, because like America is really big. It's like, we were talking about like culture and whatnot. Like America, it's really not by state. America is actually more divided. There's like 10 or 11 cultures within America. Like it's a weird friggin' place, man. Like, you go to the South. The South is a completely different place from the North. The West Coast is very different from the East Coast. Everybody talks like this out in the West. Like, yeah, man. Like, everybody in the East Coast talks really fast, and it's just I don't know. It's a really, really weird place. And it's like, how do you fucking hit America in this day and age? It's like,
oh yeah. Well, we ain't got a fucking clue. we just
well, I think you'll do really well in New York for sure. Like,
it does seem like there's a few obvious places that people like the music. New York being one of them.
Sure, Chicago, LA.
LA, those sort of places. We've been played. We're getting plays from loads of places in America, but there's I don't know. There's a few obvious places we'll hit, I guess, and just see.
I guess you could you could look at that data and be like, okay.
Oh, you can, yeah.
That's so.
Really, that's another great thing about that technology. Like people base tours around what their stats say, because if you've got loads of listeners in a few certain places, it makes sense that you would go there.
Hopefully all our listeners will be in Roswell or something like that. We can just go and tour in Roswell.
We've landed. The bad news have landed.
Aliens.
All right, let's wrap this show up with a very here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna I want to hear, in particular, Bobby's 5 favorite Beatles songs right now, and I want to hear John's 5. And the reason why I'm picking 2 different things is because I want to create some variety here. John, I want to hear what your current 5 Misfit obsession songs are right now.
Oh.
And that's what I want to hear. And when I stop talking, you can begin. I'm stalling. Right. As a matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do super quick, since we haven't done it yet, real quick, because we have to do this anyway for the show. I just want to quickly speak about our sponsor, riotstickers.com. If you need stickers, you got to go to riotstickers.com. Sharpie Riot, he does the sticker game better than anyone else. These are UV coated stickers. They're printed on vinyl, and they are waterproof. And we're doing a deal right now. If you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess, that's FRUMESS, you can get 1,000 stickers for $79. You're not going to find that deal anywhere else. You have to go to that link. It's going to be in the description right underneath all the Bad Nerves stuff. The Bad Nerves link tree will be down there as well, where you can go and hear them on Spotify and all these good places. And we'll play our little 60-second Less Than Jake theme song right now.
We make stickers, banners, and buttons too. Posters and promo cards. There's nothing we can't print for you. From stage backdrops to bass drum heads. We can print on shirts. We can print on hats. We can print on pants. Cheap prices and high quality. Quick turnaround times and free shipping. We also offer free artwork support. Great customer service and so much more. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And we're back with the Bad Nerves. Bad Nerves. You say you put the anyway, even though it's not the Bad Nerves, it's still the
Yeah,
Bad
but-
Nerves. You have to because it's a noun. And they are going to each give me 5 songs. We do a lot of top 5 sort of nonsense on here, and they're each going to give me 5. It's not their favorite songs, because how could you have favorites? I don't have favorite Beatles songs. There are Beatles songs that I'm obsessed with at the moment. There are Misfits songs that I'm obsessed with. But like you just pick what's currently in your whatever's in your rotation at the moment. So who wants to start?
The Beatles catalog is in my. I'll start if you want. The whole of the Beatles catalog is in my permanent rotation. I haven't had. They've been my top artist on my streaming shit every year since I started listening to them. But like favorite, I mean, obviously, I literally love. I think I love probably 98% of their music. There's probably only a couple of songs which I don't even dislike. I just, they're just like Piggies, for example, on the White Album. I like that, but I like it more because it's a bit of a giggle. It's not really. I don't think
it's a novelty. It's more of a novelty. Yeah.
But like if I was to try and pick some off the top of my head, I think. I mean, it's almost like everyone you pick is going to be a bit of a cliche, but I think "A Day in the Life" is an absolute genius song. Like when I listen to that, it makes me just transport into another world.
Fucking astounding recording achievement as well.
I just have that. I pretty much have that song stuck in my head every day, and I have done for 6 years. I always think of that song for some reason.
And the drumming. Look at Ringo's drums on that song. Those
fills.
It
just cuts out again.
Yes,
so
those fucking fills, bro.
I know. You think it's going to kick in, but it doesn't. You're like, I know. So cool. What else is there? Happiness is a Warm Gun, I think is fucking amazing.
Okay. Fun trivia fact, super quick. I'm going to interject this super quick. Fun trivia fact about Happiness is a Warm Gun is actually 3 songs. It's not 1 song. And what they did was, just like what we were talking about earlier, they took 3 snippets. So the first part, She's Not a Girl Who Misses Much. That's 1 song. And then it goes into the second song. And then the third song is Happiness is a Warm Gun. So,
but this, you know what? This is the thing with, like, if you listen to, we've got a track called Don't Stop that's not on the record. That is essentially
I know that song. Yes.
It's 4 different parts. And that's it. Yeah, and that's it. There's no repeating part. It just goes first section, another section, end section.
I got to listen to that with that in mind.
Yeah, and that is fully like, well, it's not just influenced by the Beatles, but it is that thing of being okay with just following a vibe and not feeling you have to do this structural bullshit thing that you hear on the radio all the time. A, B, A, C, A, D.
Sure.
Verse, chorus, middle eight, blah, blah, blah. Like that.
I'm so glad you picked that track, dude. I fucking love that fucking end, that bang, bang. And then it goes, happiness is a warm, yes it is.
My headphones are about to die, guys. Hold on a second.
Oh no. All right, keep going.
Okay, so that's 2, isn't it?
I'm trying. Hold on.
Okay. Well, I mean,
John, if your headphones die, that's okay. We'll be fine. It'll just switch it over. Don't.
Another track that I really love is on the Abbey Road is Golden Slumbers.
Oh,
I think that's just that makes me. I wish I'd written that. I mean, it's just like it's only about a minute long, but it's all part of that flowy transitional.
okay. Another super quick Beatles trivia fact. Because
how many of these facts do you have?
As I said,
Go on,
I could talk more about the
on.
Beatles, bro.
Go
I could
on.
talk more about the Beatles than I could the Misfits.
Yeah, go on.
Because on, the song because.
Oh, do I know that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
So that is the three of them. That is
Yeah.
the three of them sitting in a candlelit Abbey Road studio on their cross-legged, and it's the four of them actually. And again, this is what makes Ringo such a great fucking drummer. Ringo cannot be heard. He's not on the actual track, but he is very much a part of the track. You know why? Because he's keeping time with the claps on his thighs.
Yeah.
And so that harmony, that's the three Beatles after playing 10 years, doing thousands of hours of gigs in Hamburg, Germany. And now here they are harmonizing, 3-part harmony just by their ear with no backing fucking track.
That is spot, because like I said, I've done this Abbey Road cover. I've done a cover of that song, and the pleasure I got from just singing that 3-part harmony, because the world is
and they had Ringo. Ringo's there, even though he's not there.
I love the bit where it's like, makes me happy.
Yeah.
This is like, so that's 3 anyway. So what other? I mean, I really love Strawberry Fields Forever. Probably another bit cliche, I know, but I'm just thinking like, well, what's one that is not? That is not
Strawberry Fields.
You got a
is
visitor.
2 different. Oh no.
I've got a visitor.
Strawberry Fields, 2 different tempos. That was one of the first times that they ever spliced 2 tracks. John was like, I like the beginning of this one. I like the ending of this one. They spliced it together, even though it's a different fucking tempo. Crazy. Fucking crazy.
I think what another one. I mean, I have to admit, again, it is a cliche one, but I really do think that, I'm torn here. Either While My Guitar Gently Weeps, or
it's a great song,
which is obviously it's a classic. But I also really do rate Let It Be. I think Let It Be is amazing.
Beautiful, incredible song.
It's to be honest, man, I really do love all of them. There's
top
so many
50, top 50 Beatles songs, isn't it?
Yeah, I probably could do top 50. But
I'll tell you, if you haven't gotten to it yet, you have to listen to "It Won't Be Long," the opening track on, I think it's with the Beatles. It won't be long. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Fucking one
of the best songs ever.
One of the best songs ever. The fucking arrangements on It Won't Be Long. It's like, wait a minute, this was their second fucking album.
No, see, that's the funny thing. Me and John listens a lot to their earlier stuff, and I listen more to the sort of like Help and Rubber Soul onwards kind of eras.
Their early shit is very fucking punky, man. There's like a punk flavor to all that early shit, She loves you. She loves you could have been a Ramones song.
Oh mate, yeah, definitely. I love all that early. There's something, I think that just the sort of creativity of some of the later stuff is just really just
all of it is great.
Oh no, of course, it's all great. I love it all.
John, let's hear your Misfits tracks.
Okay, American Nightmare, because I feel like everyone says that Danzig is evil Elvis, and I feel like American Nightmare is like the closest he got to singing like Elvis in that song. I think it's just perfect.
Real quick, wait! I have to interject one thing.
Mate, he's got facts. He's got
allegedly, because I'm not doing a top 5. Allegedly, that was written in response to the Cramps' American Nightmare.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Allegedly.
I did not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, go ahead.
To be honest. The original Cough Call. Yeah, it's
my favorite.
Yeah, and probably the She as well off that as well. But what was it? Halloween.
Fucking Halloween, bro.
And
Candy Apples and Razor Blades. Little Dead Are Soon in Graves.
I mean, it's obvious, but obviously, Hybrid Moments is just one of the best songs ever.
ever.
I could do like, to be honest, there's nothing. I was saying this the other night. Static Age, like there's nothing they ever did in that era that I don't like. Like I got when I was like a kid, I got the Coffin box set, the CD Coffin box set, and it had all like the different like different edits and different like
Yep.
versions of all the songs.
Yep.
And it's like 4 discs, and I can listen to it all and love every single second.
Yeah.
Like so. You know, when Danzig left, that was kind of it for me. But that era is like untouchable. I couldn't name a song I don't like.
They are absolutely. And if you want a glimpse as to what the Misfits sounded like before they even recorded a record, Cough Cool and She was before they had a guitar player. And
Yeah. So it's all the keyboards, wasn't it? They didn't have a guitar.
They were the fucking Doors, bro. They were
Yeah,
straight
yeah,
up the Doors. That's what they were
I see,
trying
like,
to do.
pictures
They were
of
trying
them
to
playing, but they got like a keyboard there. I'm like, that's fucking amazing.
He's playing
Yeah.
on a I forget what it's called. It's a fuzz piano of some kind. Or no, it's what did what's his face from the Doors? Ray Manzarek played. It's the Fender Rhodes. It's a Fender
Right.
Rhodes piano, electric piano that he was playing. And they used to do all the songs. Hybrid Moments was originally, there was no guitar. It was just piano, bass, and drums. All those songs.
I love it like that though. I love it
too.
like that. I think it's perfect.
It's fucking great, dude. It's really, really great.
That record is like, I looked it up on Discogs because the one that came out on Dazzy's label, wasn't it? And it's like thousands of dollars for like
Which
that
one?
record.
Oh, Blank Records, Cough Cool.
Yeah.
Dude.
To get like a press of that would be like.
What did you just send? You just sent me something, Bobby. Is this the Children in Heat cover?
No, but I can send you that as well.
Yeah, send that to me as well. Hold on, I'm looking at what this is.
That's a cover that I did of, well, one of the covers from the Abbey Road.
Oh shit! I'm very excited.
Oh, you're
to hear
in
this.
for a treat, man. You're in for a treat.
Oh shit! You hooked up the George Harrison something. Great. That's great. I'm gonna I can't wait to listen to this. I'm gonna listen to it in my headphones. No one could hear this except for me. Hold on. Okay, that's Jay Retard. Holy shit. Did you guys freeze?
On my,
Oh shit! Did I freeze?
oh no, I don't know.
No. I'm
You're back.
here. Yeah, it was my internet connection. It was unstable because I tried playing the song,
Oh right,
and
yeah.
my shitty little. I have to unplug all the TVs in my house because.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because the Wi-Fi here. I'm really DIY operation at the moment.
Oh,
But I
man,
have to tell you,
so-
I just listened a little bit to what you just sent me, and here's what it sounds like to me. And this is my honest opinion. That sounds like something off of the fucking J Retard fucking singles box set, dude. It's super, and that's a testament to how fucking secretly Beatle-y a lot of those J Retard fucking songs are.
Yeah.
People don't fucking realize. Like, if you listen to all the instrumentation, I love what you were fucking doing on here. There's like did you use a shaker on that track?
Yeah. There's a bunch of and shit on there as well.
I can't listen to the whole thing yet. I'll have to wait until I'm off. But that is fucking tremendous, man.
I'll send you this as well. This is the
Yeah, hook it up, bro. Hook it up. I'll keep it vaulted. Don't worry.
I'm not too sure how to. This is actually just on my on my personal Instagram. I'm not sure if this will work because I'm doing it through the.
Okay, it just came through, but I'm not going to play it because my.
It does seem to work. Okay, yeah.
Oh no!
So
it says sorry, this page is not available.
Oh, that's because I've got a private account because I'm so famous. Let me
I did from his mum.
Let me unprivate my account. That's one way of doing it, or just follow me.
I'm curious, John. So you're big into the Misfits. Have you waded into the Sam Hain or Danzig pools?
Of course.
Oh, you have. Okay, cool. Right.
Man, I was gonna mention Sam Hain earlier when we were talking about recordings because the drums on Archangel are just like, because didn't Danzig play them on the recording or something like that? It sounds so kind of out of time, but I love it.
So those drums, actually, those drums might initially have been Danzig, but eventually those drums were recorded by Steve Zing.
Slows down so many times, whoever it is, but it's perfect.
So that, as you know, that was written for Dave Vanian.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Archangel, you have to listen to it as if you're listening to The Damned. That's what it is. It's a damn song. It doesn't sound like Sam Hain. If you listen to it, Arcadia, you could imagine Dave Vanian singing that, and that's because he wrote it.
I love just the drone of it at the end. It's like
Yes.
4 or 5 minutes, and it just
sounds
drones,
like
but
a
it's
saxophone is on there.
like like, that's the thing with all the Misfits stuff, like especially the early stuff. They managed to make their instruments sound like somehow horror, and I don't know how they've done it. Do you know what I mean? Like that drone, or like
I'll tell
even
you.
like the Halloween recording.
Yes, I'll tell you. Okay, two things that you'll find very interesting, especially when you listen to Earth AD, and especially when you listen to Halloween, when you listen to all this stuff. So what they would do, okay, so first for like Halloween and like London Dungeon, which were all kind of recorded at the same time, they had this like producer guy, his name's Robbie Alter, and what he was doing, and maybe Danzig did a little bit too, they had a track of guitar that was nothing more than atmosphere, and they were doing weird feedback shit. That's all it is. So in the background, underneath the chords, they're just doing like like, you know, like when you have like those weird Spider-Man strings, like the steel strings from on your bass or whatever, that weird like whatever, I don't know what it's called, and you just go you know, like that kind of shit. They're doing that kind of shit. Though. It's fucking genius. And then the other thing for what was the other one I was going to say for Earth AD. So Earth AD is technically a live record in the sense that those fuckers went into a concrete slab studio or something. It was Jerry facing Doyle. Think about the diagram I'm going to show you. Jerry and Doyle, and then Robo is right there. The three of them are facing each other, and they tracked all of 9 songs in 6 hours after playing a show. After playing one of their biggest shows. But here's the thing. You play a show, you're warmed up. Those guys were fucking at 2 o'clock in the morning. Time. Right. 2 o'clock in the morning, they go in, something like that. They go in with Spot, who's the engineer for Black Flag. They go in and they set it up. Jerry and Doyle are probably, and this is something that I made up in my head. I don't know if this is true. I just imagine that, you know, you guys are musicians and you guys have musician language, right? Like you visually see each other. Like Bobby, you turn to the drummer and you're like, you know, like whatever, that sort of thing. I imagine, because they were so sloppy live. And again, going back to Nobody, going back to the Misfits, going back to the human element that Bobby was mentioning, this idea that there is a sloppy grace to these bands. What they're doing is it's like a train that's moving too fast for the tracks. And just when you think it's going to fall off, they somehow are still on the track, but they are not stable.
Exactly. And makes it good.
Right. And it makes it incredible. And that's personally my little beef with Dave Lombardo, because I think he plays it a little too straight. I think he's too mechanical, and I feel like he doesn't have that sloppy swing that Googie had in the mix.
Because you hit, it's like they're just like spilling around the kit without really thinking about it.
Right.
Know, like
right. And so I imagine that Doyle and Jerry must have been looking at each other for the changes and whatnot and getting it down simpatico. So when you listen to Earth AD, you know, it's like 18 minutes long. Talk about perfect records, right?
That's a real game changer, knowing that. I didn't know any of that.
When you listen, you can, I imagine in my head, again, I do not know. I was not there. This is something that from listening and just decided on my own.
Yeah.
That
sounds good to me.
Right. That they must have had that perfect simpatico eye contact as they're listening for the changes, as they're going through the all 9 songs. And then what they would do is they had that feedback track. What they do is they take their instruments, they throw it in the room and close the door shut and just let the feedback record.
Yeah.
And that is what you hear on Earth AD on a separate track, is just
that is amazing. Yeah. That is such a great idea.
Well, hey, there you go. I mean, when you're thinking about your second record, you got some experiment. You can experiment. You know, I mean, I love that you guys are not like just like, okay, we need to do our second record and like have all. It's like you're discovering it. I think that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of pressure from like people.
I'm sure
to do it and do it quickly, but we're we're not a band that can be like wrestled into putting out something we don't think is sick. So we're because the fact is to write a great song, you normally have to write about 20 like average ones before you write a great one. Like, I mean, it's sort of sometimes something comes out and it's sick, and other times you'll spend months, sort of writing stuff and it's all okay, but it's not like it's not good enough to want to put it out. And it's we don't want to put out anything that we don't think is really sick.
Yeah. We always said that from the start. We'd never compromise on that. Yeah.
Well,
we would rather split up and just have one record and never do another one than put out something we don't think is good.
I respect that greatly, and I'll say this: one of the biggest pitfalls for any band with a fucking smoking debut record is that the sophomore follow-up record. It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with filmmakers. You make a fucking banger of an album, and then immediately the commerce, right? Because art, because creativity is an intersection of art and commerce, right? The business and the creativity have to come together and make this thing that's both profitable and creative and cool. And what always happens is commerce always arm wrestles creativity. Get out there. Churn out another one. And in rare cases, like the Beatles, who literally, if you look at the years of 1964 and 1965, the Beatles produced 8 quarterly singles. And separate from the singles, they did 2 LPs, 4 LPs, 2 movies, 8 singles, and world tours in 2 years. Apart from that, that is an outlier. That is like, and everything is good. Like, that's the last part. Everything is good that they do.
It doesn't happen normally.
Apart from that, when people release a sophomore record, that sometimes it fails on one of those in one way or another. And so the idea of thinking and making sure that you feel, because at the end of the day, who's going to fall on their sword? You guys. You'll fall on the sword if it's not like to everybody's fucking expectations. So you need to be ready. And I'm not like telling you this like when I point. I'm sorry. I'm just so passionately talking about this.
I'm with you.
Like it's like whatever you're gonna fucking put out, like it's like you be willing to die for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
that's the thing, because we've got a bunch of pretty songs that I think are really cool. Like, it's the early days, but it's still like, but to then, because we don't want to do what we did with the first one, which was like, obviously we loved all the songs in the first one, and we basically just wrote a bunch of songs and then we just placed them in an order that felt right. Whereas like with this, we want it to be a little bit more, want to think about it a little bit more, so like it's not just like 12 songs. I want it to there'd be a few bits, influenced by the Beatles and stuff like that, where like things do flow into each other a bit, and like so there's a little bit more to think about with this. And so it's like there is I mean, it's we don't want to just rush it and just throw something out. I mean, I guess it will be so what year? 2022. So so the album's 2 years old now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it'd be great. We're hoping to have the second album come out next year, and everyone that's not in the band is hoping that we will do that as well. But we won't put anything out until we all say this is sick.
Fuck yeah. And you want to know something? Look, you guys have the goodwill. You have goodwill. You have credibility. You have the fucking talent beyond the talent. You have the drive. But most of all, you have, and you also have as well, additionally, you have great influences. You're taking in all sorts of interesting input into your brains to churn out songs. All of these factors, all of them together, are great. And as this last, most importantly, you have this attitude of what we just talked about and what you just explained. And I think that you stand a great chance of putting out something fucking really incredible with all of those factors in place. And I really do, whatever it is, I will be fucking ready for it. And we will be championing fucking Bad Nerves on this channel and letting the people know that, again, our small little teeny little platform.
Oh, we appreciate it, man.
No, man, like, we really appreciate it, man. Like, honestly, it really does mean the world.
Yeah, it's what you're doing, man. Is like I feel like it's all the people that do these, and we think, oh, there's all these small little things. Like the small little things are what the stuff that really fucking matters to me. Because the bigger stuff is all corporate bullshit. Like, this is like this
hot
is
air,
the
innit? All
grassroots,
the
man.
bigger
Like,
stuff.
Cool.
What you're doing is essentially the same as what we're doing. We're a grassroots
Yeah,
band. We fund ourselves. We
Yeah.
lose money doing shit half the time. Like it's all the same shit. This is like a big ecosystem. If you take
keeps
one
it
of
real though, doesn't it?
yeah, it's like everybody. It's like I don't know. It's like a big family of people. We're all music fans.
Yeah.
That's it. I love it. It's so cool. So we appreciate it so much, man.
Well, I want to
Yeah,
again. I've taken up so much. I actually have to pick up my little daughter in a few minutes, but I have taken up so much of your time, and I'm so grateful. First of all, I want to shout out.
It, man. Loved it.
Oh my God, for a fucking honor to have you on. Number one. Number two, like I said, I think that again, if everything fucking lines up in the right way, you guys are gonna fucking take over the world. I hope you take over the world. That's number two.
Well, if we just want to influence, if we can do anything,
I know
we want to influence kids to start rock bands, proper rock bands.
We want some bunch of young kids to come and play faster than us and just totally wipe the floor with us. That's what we want.
That is a fucking.
We don't care about
the
success, but if we can be the catalyst for a generation of bands that actually say something, then that's fucking cool.
I also want to, at some point in the future, when it's the right kind of show, when it makes sense, I want you guys to come back on and we will do a proper top 10 of something. Count down, okay? We'll do it again. We'll figure out. We'll all sync up in the right kind of way where everybody's schedule aligns, and you guys have to come back on.
100%,
And
man.
Anytime.
We're gonna your podcast and our band. We're gonna grow at the same time, and eventually millions of people will be listening and be like, "Yeah, we started off here on 6th of December, 2022, 2024. We're fucking legends."
All I know is it's so rarely you get to have such a wonderful experience meeting a band that you discover and they're just really fucking cool. And you guys, really, this was such a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been really nice listening to you talk. It's so nice to talk to people who
I've learned loads.
Yeah, but people aren't passionate about stuff anymore. Like, where is that?
Yeah, right.
So
I agree, man. I agree.
We didn't even get to talk about movies and that. Like, I'm a massive B-movie nut. So
here's what we're gonna do. Now that you said that, John, you guys are gonna come back. We're gonna do something movie related.
Yeah.
I also want to shout out Jazz, if you don't mind, for a second, because Jazz,
she's a legend.
She's so awesome. Jazz helped coordinate all this, and she was so sweet and wonderful, and I really appreciate her. And I just want to give some devil horns or something. Thank you, Jazz, for putting this together. Yeah, Jazz, you rule. And the last thing, this is how we end our shows always, and then just hold on one second, guys. I just want to say again, check out Bad Nerves. All the links are downstairs. They have a nice link tree where you could find all their shit. They have a new single, All Right. That's the newest song that they have put out. I like that they're just putting out little things, even though they're, focusing on their album. That's great, also great strategy. And check them out on YouTube, and check out, you guys have to hear this. I'll post it in the YouTube channel feed. You have to hear this incredible cover of Dreaming by this old dude who's just on an acoustic guitar. It just shows, what's funny? The best songs, the ones that are truly timeless, you could strip them down and you just hear the fucking, the meat of the song, and it's beautiful. And this guy does a beautiful fucking rendition of Dreaming. So we say peace, hair grease, and we'll see you next time. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jeff. So I've decided to make a Patreon. What is Patreon? I don't know how to define a Patreon. Let me look it up. Patreon is a membership platform that makes it very easy for creators to get paid for the things that they're already creating. I want to do it full time. I want this to be my full-time job. In my efforts to make that happen, I've set up this platform. Is it going to work? Is it going to be successful? I don't know, but I would rather try and crash and burn than not try at all. The goal is to create enough passive revenue so that I can continue to do this full-time, uninterrupted. Why? Because I love to do this. I love creating content. I love making videos. I love shooting films. I love doing podcasts. In case you couldn't tell, I love to talk, and I never shut the fuck up. So right now, I've kept the Patreon incredibly simple. There's 2 tiers, and that may change in the future. The Murdergram is a simple way to extend support for all of the hours and hours of free content on the channel for nothing more than $1. 38 cents goes to Patreon. What's $1.38, eh? It's less than a cup of coffee, but it's a great way that you can show support for very little effort. When you divide that $1.38 by the hours and hours and hours of time spent listening to this endless drivel of content, the dollar cost average works out. Next up is the YouTube Casualty for $6.66. The YouTube Casualty is loaded to the gills. Enjoy the archive ad-free, as well as ad-free early access to special docu-style podcast videos, music reaction commentaries, and the like, a month before they drop on YouTube, loaded with ads, I might add. You're also going to get exclusive content and behind-the-scenes content that is not available on YouTube or anywhere else. So you get to peek behind the veil. And believe me, there's a couple of choice pieces. Most of all, more than anything, whether you join the Patreon or not, I just want to thank each and every one of you that comes to the channel, that watches all the shows, that leaves comments, that participates, that subscribes. That's really the most important thing. This is just trying to find a way to earn a living as an artist. And with that, thank you for my TED Talk. Join the Patreon, because we need you!
66 cents.